excitement is palpable. IPL 2025 is just days away. We can't wait to preview it off everything on Monday Night Live, episode 71. My name's Avni Shegdi, of course, appropriately dressed in the RCB red. And of course, I have my partners in crime, one in black, one in white. And they're going to mince their words in this one. Akshay Kumaraswamy and Nikhil Popat, how are you feeling? Akshay, I'll start with you. Great weekend, but better week ahead, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you couldn't have put it better. WPL final, and just loved seeing the tournament end on a nice little crescendo, so to say. But yeah, it's time for the IPL. It's time for all things RCB, at least from my perspective, and the watch-alongs and whatnot. So yeah, super excited for what's in store for us.
Already Noodle Hacks with Rasan, seeing the thumbnail, and the thumbnail suggests that we have one of the finest voices, which we'll get to in literally 2 minutes. But it's only fair for me to ask Nikhil what I asked Akshay. Nix, how's the excitement in the Popat household? How's the excitement in your head? Because you're Mr. Cricket, mate.
Today, very, very special. The 71st is special, going to be even more special. And see, IPL is something that's very close to all of us. All of us have grown watching IPL grow. So yeah, can't wait to talk about it. And then can't wait to get DMs and everything in my mentions when I don't rate a team as well as people want it to.
No, absolutely. Well said. Remember, you guys can like this show straight away and follow all of us. And remember, we're going to get an absolute stellar guest on right now. And I've set up a little intro for him. So let me read it out for you all, because I'm pretty sure the thumbnail suggests that you guys know the man. But here's like a little intro that I've prepared, right? He's one of the most famous voices in our game. He's a man who's played 15 tests and 29 one-day internationals for his country. He's played in a World Cup. He's played in a Champions Trophy. He's literally done everything that you can imagine a cricketer do. Now, some would say he was probably one of the more genuine number 11s in our game. And mind you, he also holds unique distinction of being the only batter in the history of the game to have scored exactly the same amount of career runs in two formats, 34 runs in both ODIs and Tests. We don't want to, of course, do anything condescending to Mr. Mbangwa. But look, let's welcome him on the Monday Night Live for the first time ever. And like I said off camera to him, he's Zimbabwean royalty. So Pommie Mbangwa, let's get him on, Shaunak. And of course, get this MNL cracking, because to be fair, it's been worth the wait. And Pommie, look at you. How are you? All well?
Always well. Yeah, nice to join you guys. How are you doing?
I'm good. I can't wait for the IPL to start, to be very honest with you. And I can already tell you that your former Zimbabwean teammate is going to be coaching my favorite franchise, Andy Flower. Are the allegiances towards the Red Army, Pommie? Be honest.
I am a neutral commentator. No, look, you know, in as far as RCB is concerned, actually, I would like for them someday, and I don't know that it's going to be this year, to lift the trophy. There are a couple of teams. When IPL started all those years ago, I kind of pledged allegiance to the Delhi Daredevils at the time, but that was right at the beginning, right? And a couple of reasons, I guess. One was Glenn McGrath. I think that was one, and two, as time sort of went along, Virender Sehwag, because the guy had been playing 2020 from the time I played against him, you know, and then this format comes along and it's made just for him. So yeah, that was all the way back then, sort of 2008, 2009. But since then, nope, no team. I don't look at any team and think I want them to win per se. So no allegiances at all. I just kind of happily taken all the cricket that is, and the fantastic skills that some of these guys, in fact, most of these guys, display more often than not.
Okay, Pommie, we'll get to some questions from the chat, but in a bit, Akshay and Nix also has some questions. But my first one to you is literally what you just mentioned right now, IPL memories, right? Because when I look back at the tail of the tape, normally the iconic knocks, the spells, your voice always reverberates in some of the highlights, right? And essentially, my phone's going off as well right now. But the point being, why are we really remembering you so much in the IPL? I think about RCB, Gujarat Lions, and that crazy partnership between AB de Villiers and Virat Kohli. And then you said the words unfathomable. The first time you said a word like that, and it just made my hair stand up. So do you kind of look back at your own commentary stints in the IPL and been like, wow, I was part of some of the most iconic moments, folklore, dare I say?
No, I don't. I don't actually. To be honest, in a simple word, I'd say no, I don't. But I'm aware. I'm quite aware that as things happen, and sometimes they're historic. In that there are records broken and there are amazing things done, and I happen to be on air or calling the game itself in some part. Might not be there at the exact moment when you kind of have to call it, but as it goes along and it builds, you have a little part to play. So as my career has gone along in terms of broadcast, I've kind of paid a bit more attention to that, in that you want to make sure that you're doing justice to the guys who are trying as hard as they can on the field. That's the toughest thing, being on the field and under all that pressure and delivering. So when they do, you want to make sure that when they look at it and they come back, they don't want to erase the voice that's there, because it kind of gives it the plaudits that it deserves. So yeah, and I think my colleagues are pretty similar. All most, if not all of them, would think about this as well, and that when a moment's sort of approaching, you want to take a deep breath and kind of think about what's going on and put it in context and make sure that you get it right. We don't always do. Many of you will switch off many a time because think, oh, who's this guy? What's he on about? But yeah, you can rest assured that there is an effort to make sure that it fits the moment and it can last forever.
Okay, super. I know there's some questions that Akshay and Nikhil want to get to you, some serious, not so serious, and we'll get the predictions out of the way and have a fun quiz lined up. But Nick, over to you first. What do you have for Pommie? And I'm pretty sure you have one which will probably stump him. Used to being bowling googlies to all the guests in the show.
No, I don't. This one will stump him. Firstly, pleasure to be sharing screen with people who can bring the game closer to us. So thank you so much for that. My query is one that I think will hold a special place in your heart. How did it feel watching that match when you called Zimbabwe beating Pakistan? And when we could hear you, we could feel you speaking to you. I have goosebumps. So again, clearly not lying there. But how special does it feel at that point of time in life when you look back that okay, I started something like this because I love, and then to be there and to call a game like that and a win especially, how special was that?
It's always special, Nikhil, when things happen. Um, even if it's not Zimbabwe, even if it's not a team that you have an affinity towards, but when it is, it's more special. So I would even go so far as to say, without knowing it on the day, in the moment, I probably got carried away. However, that's just because I played for Zimbabwe, and so that will never leave me, and it'll never change. So that kind of thing happens, and when you look back, you go, "Whoa, I think I might have overdone something," and then you get the feedback from others who say, well, no, we think that was okay. Personally, every time I see that, or someone shares it, or they come across it for the first time, or they think they should play it again, I still think, oh boy, you might have overdone it a little bit over there. Everybody, even if they came from the moon, they would know that you're from Zimbabwe because of what's happening and your excitement of what's going on. So, yeah, it's special. It's nice. But most important to me is to make sure that whoever is doing it is kind of celebrated sufficiently for doing it, rather than your team is winning or whatever.
Okay, fair points. That Akshay, you come on here because I know you normally kind of like to talk about the guest in the career. Do you want to talk about Pommie's commentary stints in the IPL or something bizarre? I'll leave it up to you, mate.
It's a bit of both, and like always, I'll be a bit selfish. I've got way too many questions. I've somehow managed to narrow it down to a couple. So I'll try and, I'll genuinely try my best to hold it on to just these two. Pommie, Nikhil bhai spoke about, the game against, of course, Pakistan in the 22 World Cup. I still remember the visuals of it more than the audio itself. It was the physicality that you brought with the way you were moving your hands, because it meant to you, of course, like you mentioned, it meant something a lot more than just the game to you. How important then do you think is it for commentators to, let a bit of that subjectivity also, come through in their voice? Because we always hear commentators trying to be neutral. The objective is always not to pick sides, But some moments like these, do you think it is important that, there is some more, something more to it than just calling the game as is? Like, sure, we have some of the greatest callers in the game, but do you think because you were, someone who was a lot more close to Zimbabwe, it meant a lot more to you than the rest?
Yeah, without knowing fully, I would say it would naturally mean more to me. So if I'm watching a game and Zimbabwe is playing, of course I want them to win. It doesn't matter who they're playing. So if Zimbabwe plays India, I don't want India to win. I want Zimbabwe to win, right? Because I played for Zimbabwe. So we can kind of say that goes without saying. Um, I don't know that we can extricate that from it meaning more because they do and because I'm from Zimbabwe. So plant all of those there. In terms of subjectivity, I I don't think I was being subjective. I was happy and I was in fact happy doesn't quite say it. I was ecstatic that Zimbabwe won, right? But also, if you listen to what I'm saying, not just how I'm saying it, I essentially am trying to break down what has happened, and that's my job, right? So I've got to try and stay on in terms of my mind what it is that has happened, why it has happened, and how it has happened, and kind of try and put that all in a minute and at most when it's the moment that's going on. In fact, it probably needs to be that little bit shorter. Um, just so that it can hit as hard as possible, so that we're not taking away from visuals, so that we can let all the stuff that's on screen, because it's a visual medium, kind of speak for itself more than you try and take it over. The fact that it was um, the fact that it was married to visuals of me actually doing it, I think then kind of shifts things, doesn't it? I speak with my hands, as you can see right now, right? Like and if we're having a conversation wherever we are, this is what's going to be happening. And if the conversation gets um, passionate, heated, whatever you want to describe it as, my hands are going to just move more and more, and there'll be expressions on my face. It's just what happens naturally. So that's not that wasn't peculiar to that moment. It would happen absolutely anywhere, and it happened on the day, and it just so happened that everything kind of fell into place in that I played for Zimbabwe a while ago, and Zimbabwe was playing, and Zimbabwe was beating Pakistan. And perhaps you guys take too much pleasure in it because Zimbabwe beat Pakistan, but no, that's a subject for another day. Anyway, yeah. So there you go.
It was the Mr. Bean derby, so we couldn't, not have a laugh at that. We all remember that for sure. Sorry, one more question though, Pommie. Closer home, talking about the IPL itself. You've been someone who's been a part of the IPL as a broadcaster, as a commentator, for the better part of the last 17 odd years. How do you look at it as an overseas commentator? Because when we see regional languages taking up, you know that they have that much more leeway. There is a lot more case of them supporting or say pandering to a certain section of the audience. With English, how do you look at Indian fans looking at an overseas commentator? Like, how is it different for you vis-a-vis an Indian commentator, say like a Sunil Gavaskar or even a Harsha Bhogle? How does it change for you? How do you have to sort of hold yourself or maintain yourself while talking about some of these Indian cricketers?
I think essentially, I feel like I'm talking to an Indian audience because the Indian Premier League is a domestic tournament for India. It's not an international tournament per se. Even though I work on the world feed commentary, it's everybody looking into the living room of India, not the other way around, right? So as much as it is broadcast absolutely everywhere, we talk about India, we talk about what's going on with India. We have to kind of ask, and in our conversations, whether it's Sunny or it's Ravi or Harsha or any of the other guys who are Indian, who are closer to what's happening domestically, we're speaking so that there is the expression of what kind of this does for India, essentially, and as the players turn up from elsewhere to come and join the Indian Premier League, they join to bring their expertise and skills, but to share those with younger Indian players. You might not, and I'm not sure how old you guys are, but You might not think so because you might have jumped on the train whilst it was already moving. But at the beginning, the focus was on overseas players. And now the focus is not, it's on Indian players because over the course of the 17 years, I'd probably say about 10 years in, um, there had been such a wealth of experience developed in players that weren't Indian national players that made them particularly big commodities for teams in order to make their teams stronger. So at the start, you would have a CSK who would have India players within their 11s and therefore pretty difficult to beat. But then as you go along, you have players who are just knocking on the door of the India side, and they're in whatever teams in the 10 franchises, and they make those teams pretty difficult to beat. So, yeah, an example of someone who's probably recently into the national side is someone like Rinku Singh. Now, Rinku Singh at KKR, you think about the things he's done, and he gets into that team as a fielder before. They really couldn't get into that team. He used to run around on that field, and everyone, all the comms would be like, "We like this guy." We'd never see him bat. We just see him field. And then he turns up and bats, and we think, "Whoa, this guy can whack it like this. Why has he not been playing?" And since then, which is kind of 4 or 5 years ago, he's now a fixture in that team. And you expect that he would, bat a little bit higher. And as you kind of get a bit greedier, it's difficult to fit the 11, to fit the 6 batters. Where do you bat him at 6? Is he too far down? Should he go up to 4? Will that give him a better chance? Will he then get into the India white ball team if that happens and he has a bit more batting? But that is a common problem now with all franchises because of this depth of talent that's been created over the years. So I know it's a roundabout way, but my answer is we speak to the Indian fans who are watching on the television, and the overseas viewers hear us, and they hear us talking about India because it's an Indian Premier League.
I think that's well summed
you.
up, and it's food for thought as
Sorry,
well.
I think we can. Sorry, I think we can hear him all day. I mean, you can just go on. We are happy to just hear you.
No, seriously. And I don't know, Pommie, if you were just a natural orator, but like it seems to me that you've picked up this trade of speaking really well and calling the game like Akshay and Nix have been reiterating so well that it's almost like at the back of our head right now as IPL fans. Right, speaking of the IPL, let me just, of course, cut to the chase and get some predictions out of the way, gents, because I know Nick, Akshay, and I have some special predictions later in the show, but we want to put Pommie in the spot, so there's no time to sit in the fence here, Pommie. So 3 main questions, okay, which every Indian fan wants to know watching this right now. 1, who's going to win the IPL? 2, player-centric, orange cap and purple cap. It's just a small matter of prediction.
No. That's ridiculous. What?
It's just a gentle loosen outside off stump.
No. It's white half volleys, which I used to nick all the time. I mean, gee whiz. That's
spoken like a true number 11 there.
Yeah, it looks like a drive. You got to drive at it. Yeah. Okay, who's gonna win the IPL? No, I don't know that I can answer that question because we got to work into it. We got to I only sort of started reading about what's going on in terms of trying to see whether the sides have done well with their recruitment over the weekend, because I'm a week away, and I think there have been some fantastic recruits in various places. I also think some sides are a little bit short here and a little bit short there, but the balancing of teams, how many overseas are they going to play? I think this year you might get scenarios where 2 overseas play and 3 overseas play instead of 4, and it happens sometimes. And all the time we kind of go, oh, who starts well, who doesn't. I remember last year going, oh dear, Mumbai, that's them, Gonski, right from the beginning. Can we say the same thing this year? I don't know. I think the fact that Rohit has gone off and captain India and won a World Cup and a Champions Trophy, um, that kind of shifts things a little bit. That group's probably got tighter. They've shifted some people on or not been able to get them or whatever. And just thinking about them, actually, I'm going Tilak Verma, Surya Kumar Yadav, Rohit Sharma, Hardik Pandya. Big question: does Bumrah play? Does he not? Is he injured? Is he out the whole tournament? If he's out the whole tournament, it brings them back to the pack quite a bit, right? So I don't know. I mean, that's one team I'm talking about, right? Like that's craziness, right?
Okay, but,
And
but
then
look, I mean, honestly, I know it's hard to kind of even think about it because the studying is still early on and all of that stuff. But what does your gut tell you? I mean,
the
surely
gut,
you think of 4 teams.
there's no such thing. Gut, no. gut, gut is when you have two teams, right? If there are two teams and you look at them and you go, oh, these two are kind of good on paper, but that one, I just have a feeling that one's better because there's no reason. You don't have a reason. But when we look at 10 teams and you go, oh, well, number one, they've had these great big auctions, so everybody's going from where they were to somewhere else. So that's it's too hard. I mean, where's Butler gone? What team's he gone to?
Gujarat.
Gujarat. Is it Gujarat?
Gujarat
Gujarat.
Titans.
Gujarat, right? So Butler, royal forever, and this, that, and the other. He even puts the tweet out. I don't know that we should be moving from certain, and so you can see how this goes. In my head, I see him in pink. And then I'm going, oh, hold on. He's playing for Gujarat Titans. Do they have a good team? I don't know. Is it Butler and Shubman at the top, or how are they doing that? How's Sai Sudarshan going? Like, I don't know, right? And is there going to be good chemistry between these guys? And then what about Delhi? Delhi have Akshar as captain. But they've got like 3 captains. They've lost Rishabh. Rishabh's captaining LSG. Oh, Rishabh's Delhi, as far as I know. How's that going to go? And Nicholas Puran, will he keep? What's too much information? And then I must just pick a team that's going to win just like that? Whoa, man. You guys are hard taskmasters.
No, that's why your job is so hard as a commentator. So essentially, I'm trying to coax a headline for this, and of course, put it up on Twitter later with my team. So answer me this, okay? The team's jersey that I'm wearing, when do you think they'll win the IPL? When do you think RCB will win an IPL? Be honest with me, Pommie. You've seen them ply their trade in the Chinnaswamy for donkey's years. You've seen that team evolve. You've seen the team do well in the last couple of years. So can you give all the RCB fans watching this a positive answer?
What I'll say is Virat is the king, man. Like that is what it is. I'm stating something quite obvious, right?
Yeah.
However, he hasn't won it, and it would be nice because I saw something somewhere about him talking to Rahul Dravid and them kind of deciding when's the right time and this, and I'm assuming they were talking about retirement. I hope he's not retiring yet, but whenever it is, I hope it is before he leaves that team.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know when it will be, and I don't know if it is this season. You can cross your fingers as much as you want.
I mean, it's honestly, we've gone through the emotions as RCB fans. We have, of course, Nix, who's a CSK fan. We'll come to that in just a bit, but we'll take some questions in the chat, Pommie. I know you're strapped for time, and I have a fun quiz lined up for all 3 of you. So let's move on to the quiz, guys, because essentially we want to test Pommie out in terms of his IPL knowledge and, of course, put you guys on the hot spot as well, so to speak. So let's have that quick IPL quiz. Let's go. So it's basically between Akshay, Nix, and Pommie. Okay, and I've lined up some rapid fire questions for all you guys to participate. We get the clocks out and we can start with this one. So essentially, the way it works is I'm going to be asking the questions, you guys are going to be answering, and we can start with Akshay, I feel. So 60 seconds in the clock. Okay, Akshay, so I'll start the timer. You can Answer as many as you can. It's simple questions. If you pass, you don't get any negative marking. Understood?
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, let's go. Let us go. I'm starting the timer and we can begin this quiz. Akshay, are you ready? Producer,
Yeah.
are you ready? Time starts now. RCB have made 3 finals in IPL history. True or false?
True.
Name any 3 defunct IPL franchises.
Kochi Tuskers Kerala, Pune Warriors India, Rising Pune Super Giants.
Spot on. In which year did Rashid Khan take 27 wickets for his team?
2019.
No, 2023. List any 3 cricketers who have played the IPL and feature on our channel in the past.
Plays the IPL and feature. Adam Gilchrist. There's who else? 3 IPL players featured on our channel. IPL players featured on our channel. Okay, I'll pass.
Okay. Virat Kohli has lost more games in IPL than he's won. True or false?
True.
Okay. RCB versus MI played out a super over in 2020. Where was that, Akshay?
Dubai International Stadium. Dubai Sports.
Okay. Name any 4 players who've scored IPL century as an overseas player.
Okay, Chris Gale, Josh Butler. Then I've got who else? AB de Villiers, and I've got who would be the 4th one? Kevin Peterson. Okay.
Okay, super. So time's done. Akshay, I think, has answered few. We'll get the scores out in just a bit. So well done, Akshay, for that. I'll move on to Nix next, and let's see how he fares in this. Nix, are you ready?
Good. Let's go.
Okay, your time starts now. Name 3 players who played for CSK and MI, Nix.
Raidu, Harbhajan, and Bravo.
Okay, super. Which player joined CSK from RR this year to return to his first ever franchise?
Return from Ashwin.
Yes. Who was Shubman Gill's first ever IPL team?
KKR.
Yep. Gale's 175 happened in the afternoon game against Pune Warriors. True or false?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Which team finished last in IPL 2010?
The last in IPL 2010. Pass.
Okay, no
Other
worries.
answer.
Narayan or Bhuvneshwar Kumar, who has more IPL games in their career?
Naren.
Okay. That's correct answer. And finally, because we're strapped for time, name any 2 Zimbabweans to play in the IPL next.
Ray Price and Sikandar Raza, obviously.
Okay, we'll give that to you. Right, well done, Nix. I think you might have beaten Akshay. We'll get the scores out again. And let's see how the guest in the show does right now in terms of this IPL.
I've got nothing. I don't even know the questions, and I've got nothing. Come on, then, let's go.
Let's go. Pommie Mbangwa, are you ready?
No, but let's go.
Nevertheless, the time starts now. Question 1. What is MS Dhoni's highest score in the IPL? 84, 85, 86, or 87?
I'm going to go with 87.
No, it's 84. Name the city which hosted the 2021 IPL final. Dubai, Sharjah, Abu Dhabi.
It'll be Dubai.
Okay. Name at least 2 Sharmas to play in the IPL.
Sandeep and Ishant.
Love that. Name the most expensive overseas player in this year's auction.
Heinrich Klaassen.
No, Josh Butler. Who was Kings 11 Punjab's
How much
coach?
was he?
No, he was referring to the auction, and Klaassen was retained for 23 crores. So he was a retention, not a part of the auction.
Oh.
Butler was bought for,
Yeah, sorry. I stopped the clock on that one, so we'll get you more time. Who won the IPL Orange Cap in 2015? David Warner, Virat Kohli, or Gautam Gambhir?
Virat.
No, it was Warner. Who won the Orange Cap in IPL 2024?
24 was last year. I don't know who did that.
That was Virat, actually.
Virat. Yeah, Virat.
And 2 more questions. Name any 4 cities to have hosted an IPL game outside India, Pommie.
Outside India. Johannesburg. Port Elizabeth. Cape Town. Pal.
Okay, we'll give you.
Love that. Absolutely love that.
Okay, and finally, because we have one question left, Sanju Samson played for which team before he moved to the Rajasthan Royals, Pommie?
Sanju Samson.
That's a difficult one.
Kochi Tuskers.
No, it was Delhi Daredevils. The now newly named.
That's a
Delhi
good guess,
Capitals.
though. Kochi,
Good
you
guess.
see, the Kochi
Very good
Tuskers
guess.
is a good
Logical
guess.
guess. Yeah.
It's a
Agreed.
calculated guess.
It's a very, very good attempt at the quiz from all of y'all. And now we've got the results in. So Nikhil wins this particular quiz. Well done, Nikhil, with 6 answers in 60 seconds. Akshay got 5. And Pommie, well, you got 4 in this one. So you lose out. No worries. We will, of course, give you some smiles from the comments below. Cue in your questions right now to Pommie. We'll take a few right now. Good to great
Lots of
saying.
them already.
Lots of them as well. Sorry, and we'll make the screen slightly better so we can see Pommie on as well. Good to great saying. Pommie, do you think this West Bengal Indian or WB Indian team right now are more invincible like what the Australians did in their prime in the 90s? Do you think the IPL played a big part in it?
Answer, it's transitional at the moment because I'm not sure where it sits, right? So think of the likes of Bumrah and Shami and how long they've got to go, and Hardik, and then the likes of Rohit and Virat and how long they've got to go. I don't know that they get to 2027 in terms of the 50-over game, the older guys in the side. But with regard to the 20-over side, there's also a little bit of transition there. However, more of those guys could probably stay and will be in that side in 2026. As far as domination or invincible, too much turnaround. The teams of the 90s and further back, there were definite gaps between tournaments. And so you could kind of go from, tournament to tournament. There's too much churn, too much turnover these days. And I don't think because of that, you can then dominate another team who will win at some point.
Okay, insightful those. A couple of more coming your way. Noodle Hacks with Vasant asking you for me this evening. Who is the fast bowler you're looking forward to in the IPL? Do you see Blessing Rabbani cracking it in the IPL in the near future? I've always liked his bowling and wanted him to be seen in the IPL. So, again, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, look, it's tough to get in, isn't it? Zarabani is a good bowler. But let's just think of Indian bowlers on their own. And you first got to get past Indian fast bowlers to then be one of the guys who makes it into a franchise, bowling group. That's not so easy. And I would like to see him there as well and representing Zimbabwe, of course. And also just to develop his career to be able to share knowledge and skills and whatever with others. As far as the fast bowler who I'm looking forward to seeing Mayank Yadav. I'd like to see how he goes. I'd like to see if his fitness is good. He bowled at the speed of light last season. And yeah, I watched on television his first game, and I think that was against Punjab, I think, where they were cruising the game, and then he came on to bowl and he absolutely blew them away. Took 3 wickets really quickly, and that game came to a standstill, and they won that. He did exactly the same against Bangalore, and I watched that live and happened to be calling that, and came into the attack and speed of light, fantastic. And I think it was that game actually where he actually broke down, so they had to kind of wrap him in cotton wool and try and keep him fit, play him again somewhere else, and I hope he's fit through the season. And if he is, it'd be great to watch.
Oh, indeed, I echo those thoughts, and I'm pretty sure Akshay and Nix does as well. We have a few more in the comments, and we'll let you go. Mo Sharma saying, hello, Pommie, big fan of your commentary. Speaking of commentary, Asim Hans has one saying, hi, Pommie, how much do you put during commentary not to go over the top or to say something potentially inflammatory? Does it take away from your spontaneity?
No, I don't. There's no real fear, to be honest. You kind of think before you speak, and things that are inflammatory because of others' reaction to them rather than your own malice per se when you say them. You say what you think. And if what you think ends up being inflammatory, such as life, it doesn't matter. And we'll get past it. Someone, people will argue over it and they'll get upset and whatever, and they'll get over it. Such as life. Move along.
And we'll move along to the next comment because Sachin Upadhyay has a good one. Hey, Pommie, glad to see you on here. What's the best on-field memory as a cricketer and the off-field memory as a commentator that you hold the most?
On-field memory is Test debut. I debuted in Pakistan, and when I tell people about sort of striving to try and get into a national side or to get to whatever the highest side you can get into is, when you get there, and when I got there, for me it was like a pinch yourself moment. So yeah, that's a memory that remains. And then off field in terms of commentary. I don't really have too many that I like remember. I go to each game with the same amount of enthusiasm. I look forward to them the same way. Records get broken and guys do amazing things and innings are stunning and bowling performances and that, but they disappear until someone brings them back to me. If someone says, "Do you remember this?" I'll go, "Oh wow, yeah," and I'll remember it quite well. But that it stays and lodges as the one I remember, not really.
Okay, fair. I mean, just want to pick your mind with that. And good question from Sachin. Sportsman saying, growing up listening to Pommie Mbangwa, always love his energy levels in commentary. There was one more from Good to Great saying, Mbangwa, sir, your voice really took me back to the sweetness of the legendary Tony Cozier. He was, honestly, God bless him, he was one hell of a commentator indeed. And I think Lord Babuma saying, bang, out of here, because that's something that you say a lot. Is that the patent trademark, Pommie Mbangwa thing on comms?
They change, mate. It's been 20 years, so over time it'll be different phrases. Some others will say something else, others, and a lot of the time I don't really know that that's how I'm going with them, and I have to do some reviews every now and again where I go, oh dear, I think I'm saying that too much, and so I have to remind myself not to say it. So I'll write it down on a piece of paper and put it there so that I make sure I don't use it as a phrase or whatever. But I try and speak as naturally as possible. And you'll find that if I'm hanging out with the guys, this is the way I speak, and that's the way I speak when I'm with them, and this is the way I speak when I'm conscious. And I get excited because the game excites me.
I mean, just now, right? I was like, basically back in the day, I was in boarding school, so I did not watch the IPL for like 2 years. When I first, started watching it back after boarding school, one of the first things I heard was Pommie saying, "Oh, hello there," something on those lines, something that he says. I was like, yeah, IPL is bad, baby. Like, come on, let's watch this. I have way too many things to say, but I'll just let Avnish take a few more comments and not be too selfish.
No, fair play, Akshay. And in fact, we've really shot overtime with Pommie. So, Pommie, last two questions, and then we can just wrap up. One from, I think, Ronak Singh. Hi, Pommie. Fan of your comms for a long time. Which upcoming SA star do you think could be the next IPL star?
Oh, always difficult, eh? So over the years, Dale Steyn, maybe De Villiers, Faf du Plessis now as captain, Kagiso Rabada has been absolutely fantastic. Batting wise at the moment, young Mapaka is decent. Has got a lot of pace. So I don't know that he'll get a game, but if he does, it'll be about pace. And I hope at the Royals that they kind of let him go. Take the handbrake off and let him try and use the pace as a weapon. But Ryan Rickleton is going through a patch that's absolutely fantastic, and he absolutely smashes it at the top of the order. It's great to watch. So I've just had a summer of watching him, whether it's white ball cricket or test matches, where he's scored a lot of runs. So yeah, looking out to see whether he, one, gets in at the top of the order, and two, if he does, whether he can light it up as he's done over here.
Absolutely. Sachin saying, Pommie, who are your favorite co-commentators in the IPL? Surely you'll have one or two you have a soft corner for.
Trying to think who. I've worked with all of them, and I tend to kind of gravitate towards the older guys. And the reason I do is because they've seen a whole lot more than I have. and just hanging out with them is pretty cool. We all of us who are foreign will lean on the Indian guys because they have all the information. So if there's anything that you need to know, I can sort of ask a Ravi or ask a Sunny or Harsha, just to find out, like what's going on with this. And then as far as the players are concerned, to sort of try and get closer to the players or to get information from those who are closer to the players. The likes of Murali Kartik and Deep Das Gupta and Akash Chopra, all these guys are, and I know they're not young anymore, but they're kind of closer to the players, certainly the older ones and the franchises where the coaches are their former teammates. So yeah, I don't know that on air. There's anyone I prefer particularly. Simon Dewell and Danny Morrison, we've kind of worked together for a very long time, but I get on with all of them. I genuinely do. We're all just kind of mates having a great time watching cricket. Essentially, that's what it is. So, yeah, it would be difficult for me to say this one is the one I like particularly. No choice there.
Surely you can't say the same thing for this question, which is your favorite stadium, especially in India. Which is a good stadium you feel like you love commentating in? Surely there has to be one. You can't sit on the fence here.
So if someone were to tell you about Stadia and why they prefer it as a place to commentate, it would be nothing to do with the cricket. It would be to do with lunch and tea and great cakes served and great food given to you. So yeah, I don't have a stadium that I think I want to commentate at this one. Nah, not really. We always enjoy visiting the iconic stadiums because of the history at them. So you want to be at Eden Gardens, you want to be at Wankhede, you want to be at Chepauk because of the history that's there. So yeah, and every time you turn up, you don't necessarily kind of think of it like that every time, but once you're in there and you're kind of, oh yeah, here lies a lot of runs and a lot of wickets and a lot of whatever.
Super. Pommie Mbangwa, thank you so much for your time. Real shout out to all of your fans, all the people who should tune in to your YouTube show. We've left the link in the description, of course. Go check out what Pommie is going to be doing for the IPL as well. And speaking of which, Pommie, just give us a little indication of when you arrived to India and what games you're going to be doing and what is a day in the life of Pommie during the IPL. Could you just give that little details to us?
A day in the life is watch the game. If you're not working on it, you kind of have to watch it. Certainly, I feel that way. Otherwise, you miss stuff and then you can't kind of join the dots as the tournament goes along. It means then that the tournament is pretty tough and grueling because your mind doesn't ever really get to rest. You're constantly kind of doing homework by virtue of watching the games, and then you have to travel a little bit. It's kind of taxing, but such is life. It's a bit of fun as well if there are good people around you, which they uh, more often than not are. Then it's absolutely great. A drink here, a meal there, and whatever, and that's great. I do a lot of resting. Got to get in the gym so that you keep yourself fit and kind of your mind actually just moving along quite nicely. And I start this year in game 2. I'm trying to think where that is. Hyderabad, I think it is.
CSK. Oh, Hyderabad probably.
I think
SRH
it's
Hyderabad. Yeah.
yeah. I think it is Hyderabad. Yeah. That's where I start, and we'll see. Just follow the roster and wake up, get to the airport, move along.
Indeed, and safe travels, break a leg in terms of everything IPL. Pommie, thank you so much for your time on this Monday Night Live podcast. And a shout out to Akshay as well for coordinating this whole thing with you, getting you on board, and just increasing the bandwagon of cricket.com. I hope you had fun.
Fun is always had.
Thank you so much.
Super.
And
Pommie
guys,
Mbangwa,
just
thank you.
to shout out Mbangwa Media. Please do check out the YouTube channel before Pommie goes out. Lots of fantastic interviews. I myself caught the one with Tipo Morris, Chris Morris, of course, and Rashid Khan. Love both of them. Guys, do check that out. Huge shout out. Fantastic guests that Pommie's, of course, managed to get access to. Do check it out. And yeah, thank you so much once again. There you go, Anish.
All right, guys,
Super.
take it easy. Yeah.
Well done. Well done. Super.
Cheers.
What a guest. What a guest. Honestly, we'll remove him and we'll let him go. And look, we'll get back to the regular MNL sort of look and feel of the show. Guys, what a guest. Just another edition. So well done, Akshay, because someone in the comments was also saying Danny Morrison, Pommie, and Isa Guha, a hilarious commentary panel waiting to happen. I generally feel we've spoken to two of them. Danny Morrison, we've done an unwind. Pommie, now we've got an MNL. And the third one, I've actually reached out to. So what's this space? She might be on for an IPL preview later on in the week. Fingers crossed with Isa Guha. So look, lots to come on cricket.com. Lots to come on MNL, because right now we've been waiting with bated breath to preview all the teams. I know it's going to be the next 1.5 hours talking about the IPL and then showing you a little bit of the unbox glimpses as well around the Chinnaswamy. So get your dinner, like this video, and just crack in the comments as well, because we will take everything that you guys suggest in terms of team previews, so on and so forth. So how we're going to go about it is alphabetically. So we'll start with Chennai Super Kings, and that's beloved Knicks' team. And we'll get cracking straight away. First and foremost, how we're going to go about reviewing each team is in 4 different segments. We'll show you the fact file. Akshay will show you different depths in terms of the squads. And we'll also show you all our fun predictions. So what are we waiting for? A team fact file first for Chennai Super Kings. Their captain this year, no prize for guessing, will be Gaikwad. Stephen Fleming is probably going to be the longest-serving head coach in IPL history. I don't think anyone can displace him. He will carry on for another season. They finished 5th last year. Look at their first 5 fixtures in IPL 2025. It doesn't get easier for them, because the first 2 games are against their arch rivals, MI at home and RCB at home. That'll be a tasty clash. And look at their record since 2022. This is also that we're going to be putting it out in our fact file, just paying attention to the last 3 seasons and how the teams have been doing. And for CSK, it's nip and tuck. So first ball to Knicks here with regards to CSK. Knicks, we heard you vociferously in the Hindi preview talking about CSK, MSD and Gaikwad, so on and so forth. Right now, right here, 4 or 5 days before their first game, what is the mood in the heart? Is there butterflies in the stomach? Are you confident in this season compared to the previous?
Firstly, very happy. I think a lot of that homecoming is very emotional. Again, people look at it differently. I think for Chennai, emotion is something that rides most of that feeling that you have. Ashwin back at home, Sam Curran is back, and whenever I speak of Sam Curran in Chennai, I think of that ball that he bowled to Andrew Russell and how animated I got watching that dismissal, because again, there are some memories that you have that you feel, oh, nahi, bhai, bada ho gaya. I don't feel the same strong emotions, but there are people who bring out their emotions from you. I think it's a very, very important season for Chennai. Massively so for Ruturaj Gaikwad. As you showed the record, since 2022 hasn't been a smooth ride. I mean, you say hasn't been a smooth ride, but you won title in that ride. So it just tells you the standards that you have set. Looking forward to how that entire group works together. Because I think the core is back. You have Rachin, Conway, Sam, Ashwin, Jadeja, MS. This is the core that Chennai relied on for a lot of time. So I wouldn't say I'm overtly confident or very underconfident. I'll want to see how it goes, because something that I've been very conscious of is to not expect the same thing from Chennai. That is something every Chennai fan also has to keep in mind, that things used to work very differently with MS Versatile. They are changing with how Ruturaj and Fleming are now working. So let's see how that works out. One thing is for sure, I'm hoping that the home venue spins. There is a lot of spin because you've packed your team with spinners. So if that happens, I am very confident. If not, then we'll have to see what we do on the way.
Okay, interesting. I mean, generally, if you look at that CSK squad, which we'll put up in more detail about the batting depth and the bowling resources they have, and Akshay and Nix will talk about them. Akshay, I just want to get your first thoughts on CSK. Normally, if you look at that team and you look at people like Vijay Shankar and Rahul Tripathi, who are in the twilight of their careers, in any other team, you'd be like, bro, such a washed batting lineup. But if there's any team who can get the best out of people like those, it's CSK. So do you think CSK have done the best bit of business in the auction, and now they're well prepared, better than the seasons gone by, at least in the last 2?
I mean, I do agree with you on the latter bit that CSK has resurrected the careers of a few, but I wouldn't go as far as to call Rahul Tripathi and Deepak Hooda washed. They're still well well within, like they're still, closer to their peak than they are, say, to their twilight. So I think they've done some fantastic pieces of business there. Karan, like Nikhil Bhai mentioned again, for 3.2 crores was a steal. Adds a lot of value with the bat, ball, and also on the field. Batting may flexible, bowling may flexible. So they just it just opens up a plethora of options for them. And yeah, in terms of their auction, so in fact, I also went through our auction review just to understand where I was at then and if my thoughts have changed now. And it's more or less the same. This is, I think, the best constructed squad post an auction for CSK. I don't think CSK has had such a good auction ever before. It was always on the field where MS Dhoni used to take care of his side. Nato, in terms of squads, this is arguably one of the better squads CSK have had in a very long time.
Okay, so let's get on with it then. In terms of showing you the depth in squads, we'll start with the batting depth because it'll give you enough indication of who the finishers are, who the spin hitters, who are the left-handed batters, who are the pace hitters, so on and so forth. The graphic speaks for themselves. We prepared this graphic for every particular IPL team, so bear with us. These are just the CSK batters. Akshay, if you can skim through this, and then I'll give Nick's probably the CSK bowlers depth chart.
Yep. Brief overview agar dena, what really stands out, of course, is the number of all-rounders they have and the split between the left-hand batters and the right-hand batters. This allows them, their top 7 now consists of 4 right-handers and 3 left-handers, or vice versa. They can even go for 4 lefties and 3 righties, which means there's a nice little balance there. While I'm not one for force-fitting left-hand, right-hand, combinations, if it comes naturally into your 11, nothing like it. If your side is stacked up such that you invariably end up with such combinations happening for you, then that's, I think, a great piece of squad construction. It lets you, once again, when I talk about flexibility, look at someone like a Sam Curran, look at someone like a Shivam Dube. These are all players who can be batted up the order. Shivam Dube, of course, has already proven himself as, a finisher as well, of course. And then you look at the all-rounders they have, of course. Ashwin, Jadeja, and then you look at, someone like a Rachin Ravindra as well, someone they've brought in potentially as a backup for Devin Conway, but even then, someone who can, straight up slot in case Conway isn't in the greatest of form. Jamie Overton is the player I'm looking forward to, and of course, Vijay Shankar, Shivam Dube, Sam Curran. I think it's a nice bunch of, all-rounders that they've got across both the spin and pace category. So something I'm genuinely looking forward to this time around.
Okay, super. I mean, if you look at the batting arsenal they had, I think Akshay just summed it up pretty well. But even their bowlers, and Nick's mentioned it, I hope Chepauk spins is what he said. Now, if you look at even their bowling depth chart, Nick's, you must be a happy man going into the season because they have pretty much all boxes ticks. Would Dick agreed with that?
Yeah, 100%. I think the only caveat in that entire squad to me, even while at the auction, was the pace hitting part. But again, you have options, so you can cover. With the bowling, I don't think you can be more greedy because what you have to remember is there are only so many people that you can pick and play. So to me, if you look at the distribution, it's there in terms of you have left arm pace starting with Khalil. You have backup with Gurjapneet and Mukesh who've done well, and of course you have Sam Curran who you can use whenever you want to. You have right arm paces, battery of them. You assume predominantly that Pathirana will be the one who starts every game. I don't, and I genuinely hope there is no point in time where I have to bowl Shivam Dube and Vijay Shankar. But if they have to, maybe sometime we'll figure out that later. I think Anshul Kamboj is a very good prospect. See, the thing that has always helped Chennai is flexibility and having resources to use them on the very given day. You remember the prime CSK days, you would always feel they have one guy extra. Now, with impact player, you have a legit option to try all of these options. So, I think in terms of covering that aspect, they have done really well. You have finger spin covered, quality with Jadeja, Ashwin. You have wrist spin option with Noor Ahmed. Chennai rarely go to leg spinners, especially bigger names. They had to go this much for leg spin. So it just tells you how much they value that aspect. And for once, they have an end overs bowler designated and a backup too. Pathirana has a backup in Nathan Ellis, and I think that could potentially be a combination that can play together as well. If someday you feel no, Noor is not working out, not in rhythm, you can play both Pathirana, Ellis, backload them, front load with Sam and all your swing bowling options. So they tick most of the boxes. But as I said, the massive important bit is how do they start at Chepauk? I think they play a lot of their first few games at home, and that I think will set the tone. If that doesn't spin, I've burnt my hands watching a Stoinis century at Chepauk. I was there in Bangalore when that happened. I know how strongly I felt about it. But again, it was a different time then. you have a different set of people now in terms of execution. So if it spins, I am completely sure their role clarity will be there. It's only if Patriana gets injured, if they don't take enough wickets in the middle overs, then I think there will be trouble. Otherwise, I think they should be sorted, at least in terms of on paper.
Yeah, fair summation, because even if you look at CSK from a neutral perspective, you automatically think Dhoni's going to be around, and no matter how old the man gets, he still has a fair amount of assertive control on the pitch. Maybe the invisible captain, Gaikwad's, of course, going to pick up a lot of cues from MS once he passes the baton properly. But CSK, with the business they've done in the auction, like Akshay and Nix have just said, getting Karan back, getting Ashwin back, getting that nucleus of the Indian players, and then probably getting the best out of them. Who knows? I think CSK will have a good time in IPL 2025, and that's probably reflected in our IPL predictions for CSK. So let's just take a look right now. Our MNL predictions for this team. We've gone for heroes, zeros, and where they will finish for each team, right? So bear with us, and I'll start first here. I generally think the hero for CSK this season will be MS Dhoni, whether it's with the gloves or whether it's some cameos with the bat laid down or some really shrewd decisions on field, in-game tactics, so on and so forth. MSD for me is my hero. Gaikwad, dare I say, the batter will fail, not the captain. I think he'll probably still have a lot of things going on his plate with regards to captaincy, but as a batter, I don't think he'll come to the party. I mean, CSK fans might hate me right now. I understand Nikhil also has Gaikwad there as his hero. We'll confirm what he thinks about Gaikwad. And then where we'll think they'll finish, we all think top four. So, Nix, over to you. Why do you think Gaikwad's your hero? And why is Sam Curran your hero out of all?
Gaikwad is not my zero. Who approved this graphic? Go and find him.
Sorry, I think we're going to definitely have a correction over there. So who is your
Avnish, the bus driver, finally coming to fourth. Good.
My hero for Chennai is Sam Curran. For a clear reason that he can be someone who can really be that guy who I want to say take care of pace, come in at the right time, and then used well. Again, Sam Curran is the kind of a role that LB Moncrief played for a while, not the Dwayne Bravo one. And again, he's not as good a six-hitter as LB Moncrief, but I think they can use him there. My zeros is not Gaikwad. Let's be very clear. Zero mera Gaikwad name. My zeros were selections because I think, and of course, I feel they will. Top four is the thing that I also agree with. I think they will finish top four. But my zero is it could potentially be selections because if they don't get the conditions right at home, their selections are going to be massive because if, say, Sam Curran doesn't start off well, then you are thinking, should I go to Jamie? Oh, no, I don't need Jamie. Should I get Rachin Conway both up top and try and fit Vijay Shankar and Deepak Hooda in the middle? That could be tricky. Now, if I don't get Khalil to take wickets if he gets injured, what if Mukesh comes in if he's not in form? Gurjapneet is a good option. So sometimes having more options can be problematic if they don't start well. So to me, selections are something that they'll have to get spot on. If they do that, then they'll go a long way. But again, let's just hope. I'll think in the positive way. But I find that designer मेरे को भी खुला रखना पड़ेगा.
Okay, fine. We apologize for that Gaikwad zero on Nikhil's prediction, but by no stretch of the imagination that, like he clarified. And more importantly, when he just mentioned selection issues, I don't think even as an RCB fan, CSK have ever had selection issues because Dhoni's always got it right invariably. So I hope that continues for CSK from that perspective. Let's go to Akshay's CSK predictions right now. And Akshay, I hope I haven't made a mistake or the graphic hasn't been fucked up from your end also. Now, MS Dhoni captaincy is your hero. The zero is Rituraj's captaincy, and then top four is what you echo with us. So explain your heroes and zeros for CSK here, please.
Yeah, I mean, for a change, it's not the resources per se. It's usually the CSK ki, when we talk about the CSK setup, it's been a case of, the sum always being greater than, the whole being greater than the sum of the parts. This time around, they have the resources. Now it's all about, do they have the leader to actually shepherd the troops? Last year, first couple of games, you could see MS Dhoni helping out Rituraj, and then a statement was also made, and you could also clearly see it on the field that Rituraj was on his own. As a keeper, whatever inputs MS Dhoni had to give, he did give them. But apart from that, he wasn't really, sort of overbearing Rituraj in terms of his inputs or his feedback. That's where if that turns out to be the case, I don't know if Rituraj, the skipper right now, is there yet. But again, conditions and all, they're all sort of going to be... There are so many variables right now for the Chennai Super Kings. I just think Rituraj's captaincy right now isn't there. So that's where it could potentially hamper their chances of making it to the playoffs.
Okay, interesting. Let's wrap up CSK then. And figure out the rest of the teams. So obviously, you guys know that we all have CSK in our top 4. So that gives you an indication of where we will be going with our predictions and who we think our eventual winner is. Time to talk about the Delhi Capitals next, because they've taken our captain, I'm saying RCB's former captain, made them the vice captain, got Akshar Patel over KL Rahul, who was supposed to be our captain. So there was full musical chairs happening there. But jokes apart, Delhi have a brilliant squad. But let's show the fact file for you guys first watching this. And remember, Capitals fans, please, time is now to cue in some questions. Captain name, Akshar Patel. We're hearing that for the first time. Head coach, Hemant Badani, who's, of course, worked with the owners before in various other sister franchises, the Delhi Capitals. They're 6th standing in the last year, which goes on to say that they need some work to do. And then look at the first 5 fixtures. Whether it's kind to them or not, who knows? I mean, that's the first 4 fixtures, essentially. And their record as well has not been pretty, to say the least, in terms of 2022. Right, so the Delhi Capitals. Next, I'll come to you in a bit. But Akshay, does this team, after the auction, scare you? Because you're talking about Stark, you're talking about KL, you're talking about Faf. These are just few additions. They have much more firepower. Are you scared if you're playing Delhi Capitals tomorrow from an RCB perspective, for example?
Scared would be too hard or too sort of strong a feeling, but I get where you're coming from and I echo those thoughts. I do think this time around they have a very good squad. It's the beauty of IPL in the last few years, where the resources have been distributed equally enough, where one team does not run away with all of these popular stars. That's where I don't think Delhi have done too badly. Something Dan Weston had mentioned during our post-auction review. Between batting and bowling, if I have to compromise on one department, I'll happily, forego my batting. They've really focused on their bowling, and that's visible in terms of the kind of pace attack they have. And if that wasn't enough, they have arguably the best spin duo in the tournament. And if that wasn't enough, they've come up with a fairly well-rounded batting lineup. So they've almost got the best of all 3 departments. Add the likes, just look at the likes of Stubbs, Rahul, the way they complement each other in the middle order with an Akshar Patel who's a who can play a role of that dynamic anchor. And then if you look at their top 3, who now will consist of Jake Fraser-Megha, Faf du Plessis, Abhishek Purohit, nice mix of youth and experience. You've seen JFM do some phenomenal things last year. Faf du Plessis has been in scintillating form in the last auction cycle. Abhishek Purohit will be someone to watch out for. So yeah, lots to look forward to. Yep.
Sorry, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that breaking news. The fact that Faf is vice captain, so that automatically means that he might start all 14 games. That means he'll open. Does that automatically mean that KL will come batting at 4? I'll get Nick's thoughts about it, but yours first, Akshay. How do you see that whole conundrum work out for them?
Yeah, exactly. Like you mentioned, it'll be KL at 4 or 5 based on situation, I guess. I don't think they'll be fixing that slot. Akshar, KL will be switching between 4 and 5. But I really don't know if that was necessary. I don't think Faf was even a part of their first 11 because he went and sold. Day 2 mein, second round, accelerated round mein usko kharida hai. Usually, it is an indication that they're buying him as a backup option. And that also makes me wonder, had Harry Brook not been injured, who was going to go out? Was Faf always a part of their plans? And yeah, so I just don't know. It seems like a bit too rushed, but I mean, they've gone for it, so fingers crossed it works out for them.
Okay, I'll come back to you in terms of the batting depth because you mentioned it over there. They have a lot of options at their disposal. But Nick, your first thoughts on Delhi Capitals. Akshar Patel's DC of 2025 or Rishabh Pant's DC of 2024? Which one wins on paper?
There's no doubt which one wins on paper for me. Someone's come to Delhi. So the alliance will have to move accordingly like that. I think I completely agree with Akshay on the points he mentioned. I actually support that idea of Faf. Again, it doesn't come from any place of bias, yellow or otherwise. That I think it helps their combination further. That if they want to open with JFM, it is good for JFM that there is a Faf at the other end. Because then that would mean that JFM can just still not be going every ball, but still take his time. So I think that is the massive part of the puzzle that they'll have to solve with JFM right up top. Because even the Hindi preview that also we did, we also see Karun Nair possibly starting in some games at 3, so that they can lengthen that batting lineup and then have Stubbs, KL, and Akshar finish with Ashutosh. So that I think it's a fairly good lineup. Yes, it is high variance, but again, this is the IPL, which is going to be possibly the closest that ever has been, and it will depend on everybody coming in. So on first thoughts, I think they will push for playoffs as well, but they'll depend on a few individuals to have a banker of a season, something that they haven't had in the past. but they'll have to do it now.
Okay, like Nick's mentioned there, go watch the Hindi show because those boys have given you a complete different IPL preview vibe in terms of their best 12s and the MVPs and the checklist for each team. It literally is insightful to say the least. Now, both these boys were mentioning their batting firepower when we talk about Delhi Capitals and this Delhi Capitals because still the household names which have entered Delhi, which we all need to now know. I'm talking about KL Rahul, I'm talking about people like Faf du Plessis who've been involved with different teams. So Akshay, take it away with terms of batting depth and how will you kind of marry these guys together in terms of that top 6, top 7? What does it look for you? And do you think they tick a lot of boxes like you put out here on this depth chart?
Yeah, I mean, a good thing going for them is most of these options, most of these players pick themselves. That first 11 was always looking settled, even after, missing someone like a Harry Brook, who, again, I'm not saying Harry Brook is a great player, but I personally thought he added a lot of value in the middle order to them. And them missing out on him could potentially be a big enough hole. In hindsight, of course, Fav opening now means Kale can bat in that middle order and he can plug that hole nicely. So it's all worked out for them very well. But like I said, if Harry Brook was fit and available, would that mean they were planning on benching Harry Brook and this was the 11 they always had in mind? That's something we, of course, will never do. But talking about their options, of course, top order batters goes without saying. Purell, Fav, JFM, KL Rahul, all in some ways either renowned based on their performances in the previous IPLs. नहीं तो बहुत सारा youth या experience लेके आ रहे हैं, so there's a lot of value added there. JFM, in fact, 3 out of the 4 are wicket keepers, so they also double up as that. And then you look at some of the options they have in the middle order. So if I look at their playing 12, it's JFM, it's Faf. Then I've got Purell, Rahul, Akshay. That's my top 5. At number 6, I've got Tristan Stubbs. At number 7, I've got Ashutosh Sharma. 8, Mitchell Stark. 9, Kuldeep Yadav. 10, Mukesh Kumar. And 11, Natarajan. एक और बैटर को कहीं पे डाल के नटराजन, like basically I've left that one slot open because Natarajan will most likely be their impact player. They can go for a Karun Nair or a Sameer Rizvi based on the situation, based on the opposition. And if they feel that this batting alone will get them through, then they can also potentially leave that slot open to bring in another bowler. They've got plenty of options there. Vipraj Nigam is a leggy that I'm genuinely looking forward to. Ajay Mandal is another all-rounder who's been making the right noises in the domestic circuit. He's been a part of the CSK setup for the last 3 years. Unfortunately, did not get a lot of game time there. So in case he also gets some game time over here, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, because you look at even the lefty and righty split over there, and it just makes you think Abhishek Purell and Akshay Patel are the 2 guaranteed starters, dare I say, and the rest have to pick themselves. And then you have some really good domestic talents like Sameer Rizvi. We saw what he did, and there's Karun Nair, like Nick's mentioned. So lots of options to be malleable in that batting 5-6, like Akshay has just mentioned. But even if you look at their bowling, and Nick's touched upon it, and he can probably elaborate further with this depth chart. Is this something that you're positive about when you look at DC? Sure, we'll get the runs on the board, but can we defend it?
Yeah, I think they should feel confident about it. I mean, if you have Kuldeep, Akshar, Stark as your potential starting playing people in 14 games, then you would feel confident. Again, you will need T. Natarajan to come good at the back end. Again, depends on how the venue plays out. So that is also crucial. But they have people who have done this job for a living enough number of times. And again, if you speak about backups, you probably feel, oh, Chamera can do the job early up top. You'll have Mohit Sharma if you want somebody for the back end. Again, Madhu Tiwari is someone who we haven't seen yet, but we could see in this very season, along with Vipraj Nigam, who I feel should be tried at times, because you'll have to throw some surprises at the opposition, and that is something you can do with Ajay Mandal as well, who is your finger spinning option. So they have the people, they have the squad is also there in terms of backups. I just feel they'll have to have some of their players have a consistent season in terms of Akshar Patel to take a lot of runs and Stark to do well. Because again, you can say they have backup, they have other options, but I think Stark could afford a season at KKR because he had Vaibhav Arshit doing the job. I think Delhi, in my opinion, do need Stark to strike up consistently, because then that will help the bowling feel a lot more confident about itself, because they have the people who can even defend or just bowl to a below par score. We can do this job, but they'll need Stark to do really well.
Yeah, and I think automatically they have 4 left-handed bowlers who's going to be bowling 16 overs for sure. Akshar, Kuldeep, Natarajan, Stark. You almost think that's a guarantee. And maybe left is right is a formula for them. Let's see where the boys have placed Delhi in terms of their predictions. And hopefully the graphic has come out right. Don't shoot me, guys. But this is what we've got. Right. My predictions first. The hero is going to be my KLR. Should have come to Bangalore. Wasn't to be. But I think he's definitely going to pack a punch in the middle. And I don't know whether captaincy and vice captaincy not burdening him will actually bring out the best of Rahul. We've always wanted the 2018 Rahul. Only time will tell. The zero, I feel Stark won't have the same success that he did in KKR. So I think he will be kind of all over the shop. That's my gut feel. And I've also put DC in my top 4 like Akshay has. So speaking of Akshay's prediction, then we'll come to Nick's. Akshay, your hero is bowling attack, but your zero is GFM. Why?
I mean, first of all, he's not been in the greatest of form, and secondly, form isn't necessarily the concern. It's the manner of dismissals. Bowlers have clearly identified what his weaknesses are, and they've exploited it time and time again. And it almost seemed like he did not work on it. Do not let that last BBL innings fool you. I mean, there were a lot of people actually, defending JFM by saying, "Arey, see the last innings. He's probably worked on it and all." भाई वो surface देखो, फिर opposition देखो, and also see what the scores were in that very game. Just see what Josh Brown did and everything. But anyway, so yeah, I don't think JFM will be able to replicate what he did in the first season. I hope he proves me wrong, but I don't see that happening. And with the bowling attack, of course, the less said the better. We've already discussed enough. Genuinely looking forward to it. And another name that we haven't spoken about, Mukesh Kumar. He'll also be featuring consistently for them. Someone I'm also looking forward to amongst the other options that they have. So yeah, fingers crossed it'll go well for them.
Okay, so bowling attack is a hero and zero can be clearly seen. So Nikhil has a completely different take. So he agrees with me in terms of our hero selection. Love that, Nix. But your zero is finishing. Why do you say that?
Yeah, so the finishing angle possibly covers Akshay also a bit where he says JFM not being informed, because then that could lead to people possibly playing up and down. You'll have to look for more options there. They will still need to see who is their replacement for Harry Brook, and that could play a clear role in terms of where people bat. Because as Akshay said, I don't know if Faf was always going to be in that plan. It is good that he's there, but he'll sort. But then what do you do with Karun Nair? Is he going to bat at 3? If yes, KL will bat in that middle order for the first time in a while. So you do not know how that will go. Now Aksar can bat at 5 or KL can bat at 4, but then that 4, 5, 6, it's very good. You have subs as well. But if JFM doesn't start, does somebody go up? What do they do? So I think the finishing is even more particular because they'll have to get that right 11. And if the right 11, the 5, 6, 7 are tricky, I think that is the only reason why I put them in the mid-table model, because I think they'll have to come in and click immediately, because IPL is such a tournament where if you lag, sometimes you can go too far behind. So getting the right 11, we are hearing that Chanaka might be signed in as a potential replacement. Then that doesn't mean then their finishing is not a problem. But then it also makes me wonder, okay, there is no place to play Chanaka because you have JFM, you have Paf, you have Stubbs, and you will play Stubbs. So I think that's where I feel the form of KL eventually becomes not a concern, but something to think about how it will pan out.
Yeah, the Grapevine also had it. There could be a room for Bracewell to come through, but I don't know whether he's going to go to RR, and that needs to be sorted out. With Chanaka now coming through, I don't know if they need Bracewell anymore. But good points mentioned by Nix there, and predictions as well, where Nix has got for Delhi in terms of that middle sort of table model, and then me and Akshay think that they're going to make the top 4. Right, time to move on to team number 3 that we're previewing on the MNL tonight. And remember, like this particular video, loads of y'all are watching it. Loads of y'all are on the RCB Unbox event, which we'll show you later. We've sent our correspondent Dia on ground there to get us some good nuggets, which I'll show later on the show. But time for team number 3, and we're going to be talking about the Gujarat Titans right now, because I generally feel this team has added a lot of oomph to their team. You're talking about Butler, you're talking about Siraj, you're talking about Kagiso Rabada. They picked a bowling attack for Newlands Cape Town. We said this right after the auction, and I'll stick by my thoughts right now. So let's, of course, show you the fact file first, because Shubman Gill will have his partner in crime / coach Ashish Nehra, and that is going to be a young, dynamic sort of duo to look forward to. They didn't do so well in 2024. 8th is where they finished up. And if you look at the first 5 fixtures in this year's campaign, they start off their campaign at home against Punjab. Then they, of course, stick in Ahmedabad to play Mumbai, and then 2 back-to-back away games down south, Bangalore and SRH before RR at home as well. So it is, of course, a mouthful for them in terms of their first 5 games. And they've actually done all right since 2022. I mean, that was the inception year. They've, of course, done remarkably well to win an IPL title already and a final as well. So Gujarat Titans, boys. Yes, no, cold, hot, lukewarm. Akshay, I'll start with you.
It's, I mean, I don't know where to start. They don't have a lot of very good players, but I just don't know that it's the coherence that I'm struggling with. How does that 11 shape up? The kind of options they've gone for, especially that pace attack. If Ahmedabad turns out to be a green top, if it was Eden Park in Auckland or something, I would have gone to some gambler and bet all my money on them, because that's the kind of pace attack they've got. Rabada, Prasid, Siraj, I'd even someone like a Kurtzia to that. So they've got extremely good hit-the-deck options, but those are the only kind of options they've gone for. Like, if you look at the death bowling, there seems to be a lot of concerns, basically. I don't know if I should just go all out and describe
Go on.
or talk.
Actually, go on, because it actually makes us think about the bowling first when we talk about Gujarat Titans, because obviously they have Butler and Gill and Sai Sudarshan and all those brilliant players. But now that you mentioned the bowlers, we'll get the bowling depth chart on, and then maybe Nikhil can have a say in the batting bit. So talk to me, Akshay, here, because like you mentioned, you'd pay money to watch these guys bowl and probably even gamble on them in certain conditions. But what about their spinners? What about their overseas contingents? Are you kind of happy with those boxes being ticked?
I mean, even with spinners, they've got Rashid Khan and Sai Kishore. Usually, I would say, and even add someone like a Washington Sundar to that, you would imagine, this looks like a more than decent bowling attack, but then Rashid himself wasn't exactly at his best last year. Sai Kishore hasn't been used consistently or regularly the way he should have been, by Gujarat Titans in the previous auction cycle. Washington Sundar, the T20 player, has, just flattered to deceive us in that sense. He's hardly, lived up to his billing. He's just disappointed. And also, on top of that, injuries haven't really been his biggest friend. So it's one of those lineups that on paper looks like, okay, we've got a lot of match winners, but together as an 11, like for instance, let me just sort of give you an idea of how my 11 looks like for them. It's Gill, Butler, Sudarshan, and then I've got Shahrukh at 4, Washington at 5, Sherfin Rutherford at 6, Rahul, Rashid, Sai Kishore, Kagiso Rabada, Siraj, and Prasid.
So you're not playing Glenn Phillips?
Sherfin Rutherford over Glenn Phillips. So I think Rutherford is a better finisher and can be a lot more, would be a better value add for them. Maybe on surfaces that's turning a bit where Glenn Phillips can also add value with the ball. Maybe they can probably look at him as a matchup option and bring him in. I would start with Sherfin, like he would be a part of my starting 12. And you've got Shahrukh, Washi, Sherfin, Rahul Tewatia, and Rashid Khan at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a very hit and miss. It's a very mercurial middle order, so to say. Like on that day, they can probably just blow oppositions, out of the water. But I don't know if they'll have too many such games. So it's going to basically rest a lot on, the top 3, a very, very bankable top 3. That's what's really going for them. Butler, Sai, and Gill. I don't think you can come up with better banks. They're right up there in terms of very bankable top 3s who would consistently give you 100, 150 runs just by themselves. So that's really working in their favor. But then if you look at the bowling attack, those pacers, if it's going to be a flat, Chinnaswamy surface or a flat Wankhede surface, भाई मतलब 250-300 तो बन सकता है आराम से on their worst day. So इसीलिए that's where the problem lies.
Yeah, because you go back to that bowling depth chart and you look at even some of the power play operators that they have, it's almost a case of eeny, meeny, miny, mo, but they will know that they're starting 11, and I'm guessing it'll be Rabada, Siraj. You could probably throw the ball to Washington Sundar to bowl a couple of overs in the power play, which he's done before. But Akshay mentioned the batting might that they have, Nix, and we'll show that for the viewers and you right now, because again, top order batters, check. Middle order batters, check. They have some great finishers as well. And the only worry is spin hitters, but surely it wouldn't come down to that.
Yeah, but the lower order also is something that, as Akshay said, we'll develop on it deeper. But I think that their game lies in the top 3. Because how you will plan at this is, even if you have, say, something like a Sharpan with a 4 batting at 5, it still leaves the team very open to I don't know how many teams where Sharfin would get in directly as a number 5. You would feel there needs to be more cushion up and around him so that he can come in and just be himself. So I don't know if that is there unless one of their top 3 bats team. So to me, this entire team looks great if one of Sai, Shubman or George bat team. If they do that, then everything is sorted because it means they'll have a platform and then people then they have to come in and hit good 25, 30s. Okay, job done. God forbid they lose too early. And if they are one of like, Shubman's side, so how does then this attack resurrect the entire innings and post a score that their team can defend? That is something that is, I feel, where they might be caught off guard because Sharfin is done well, but then there is too much pressure on those people who haven't got that time, that game time, whether it is Lomror, whether it is Tewatia, whether it is Shah Rukh Khan again. I had Shah Rukh Khan starting at 4. Many people don't. So it's going to be again one of those teams who need to get their 11 bang on with depth. There is depth on paper, but then those people need to get good enough game time to come good and complement them at top and not because then Gill and Sai cannot bat that we can't get out. Because then if they bat like that, they'll be 75 for 1 or 80 for 1 in 10 overs. It will not translate into a big score or a pass score. So I think enough people there who can do the job, but I think they need Sai, Butler and Gill to work over time.
Okay, interesting. I think Gujarat Titans gives me the vibe of an SRH team where they've been bowling heavy and they've had some top order might. Who knows if that's actually going to be replicated in different jerseys in different cities. Speaking of cities, Ahmedabad, the conditions there, the Narendra Modi Stadium, whether it'll absolutely work in their favor with the current personnel that they have, only time will tell. Right, time won't tell anything else in terms of our predictions because let's get the Gujarat Titans predictions out right now. Producer, can you please feature that as we speak? Before I go forward in any of our previews, we're going to be doing a lot of these going forward in terms of this MNL podcast. And it's just a kind reminder to like this video. It's a kind reminder to share this IPL preview because we got Pommie Mbangwa on at the start of the half an hour. We played a quiz with Akshay, him and Nick. So go check that out in case you guys have just joined us. And remember, all the questions you guys have keyed in from Asim Hans to pretty much good to great, all you boys in the chat right now, we will take them in the 12th man section. I can't accommodate everything in the interest of time, but definitely later on in the show, we will take the best ones for it. Right. GT predictions then. Well. Where will they finish? Both of us, me and Nix at least, have gone for 8, 9, 10 in terms of wooden spoon contenders. Akshay thinks they can potentially finish 5th, 6th or 7th. Again, I feel my ex-RCB man, Mohammad Siraj, could do wonders for them. That's just a gut feel. My 0, I think, is Butler. I think he'll miss RR too much and not really deliver for the GT. And like I said, I think they'll finish 8th, 9th, or 10th. Nikhil, over to your predictions. Do you think Shubman is your hero in terms of batter and captain or just batter?
Yeah, at this point of time, I am confident of the batter more than the captain. The captain is something that we need to see a lot more of. So that's why I feel he'll have a lot to prove to himself and to everyone that, don't rule me out of the T20 setup just as of now. So that's why I feel Shubman will do well. 0 is something that both me and Akshay have touched upon in every way possible that lower order can go either ways. And I don't think that's something that we can be okay with. Given that you had so much that you can do, and given the options that they had, and they took for the pace department. So I feel some of that could have been used here. And that's why I feel they might be languishing bottom if they don't get that right.
Okay, I agree with that. And I think many people in the chat do as well. Akshay has gone for something political in terms of his hero, Narendra Modi Stadium. Why is that? Is that because of the dimensions of the ground? Because of the man who, of course, has his name around the stadium? What is it?
Yeah, of course it is that now because I'm someone who talks about politics every other day. So, right? Or kuch. But, yeah, jokes apart, of course. Yeah, we know how Ahmedabad as a venue has been, at least in international cricket, not so much IPL, but based on how it functioned in the 23 IPL where Shami was just wreaking havoc left, right and center, if they can replicate those surfaces that assist their pace attack, then I really think they can do wonders because they've also got batters who can, just like Sai Sudarshan or even Shubman Gill, Josh Butler, these are players who are proven, who don't need conditions to, do well. So that's where if you give a surface that has some juice in it for your bowlers, I think you'll be in a very good set, and that's where Ahmedabad would or could potentially be the hero. And my zero, of course, is Mr. Washington Sundar for obvious reasons. I don't think I have to explain that.
No, just quick explanation, because you think he'll fail as a batter, as a bowler? Is he too much of a bits and pieces cricketer?
Presence itself, first of all, just making, just ensuring that he stays fit for 14 games. That will be the first job for their team physio. And once he is declared fit, can he bat regularly at number 5? I don't know. I've slotted him at number 5 because I want Sherfin Rutherford at number 6 as my finisher. Or else they will have to have someone like a Sherfin batting at number 5, which means Washington needs to come in at number 6. That usually is the role of someone who can also arrest collapses and also finish games. Neither of which Washington Sundar has done in the IPL. So Washington, the batter, that's a huge question mark. So those are my main concerns with it.
Washi, if you're watching this, prove Akshay wrong, and probably we can give you an interview and unwind as well. It'll be brilliant. It'll be absolutely brilliant. And Akshay, just to, of course, make sure that the viewers know, he's gone for Gujarat to finish 5th, 6th, or 7th. So it'll be interesting to see if that comes to fruition. Right, from G, we move on to K. And what better to, of course, talk about the champions in Kolkata Knight Riders, Korbo, Lorbo, Jeetpo. I'll tell you what, they're going away, Bo, in terms of their black retro kits. That's what my producer, Shaunak, told me. So if that is truth, that is great, because why would we want to welcome a retro jersey back into the big time? That is the IPL. So KKR, of course, champions, and a fact file to get started right now in this little preview of the KKR. Now, the captain, we all thought it could be Venki Iyer for that money and the relationship he has with the coach Chandu Pandit, MP, and all of that. But they've gone for Jinx, Ajinkya Rahane. The experience is what Venki Mysore quoted. 2024 standing first. It was GG and his boys who got the job done in a one-sided final. But look, their first 5 fixtures in IPL 2025, they're playing the opening game. And of course, they're playing RCB. They're not playing themselves at home. We apologize for that little blemish. RR away, MI away, SRH at home, and LSG at home. They played 43 games since IPL 2022. They won 23 of them, lost 19. But more importantly, like I said, they won the IPL last year. They won 3 IPLs right now. So they're literally kind of catching up with the big boys in MI and CSK in terms of title count. Right, KKR lost their captain, lost their coach. Are they going to lose their title? Akshay, I'll start with you.
Hard not to see them not losing the title. Wow, that was too many negatives, more than a double negative, I guess. But yeah, to put it very simply, no, I don't see them defending their title this time around. Just the kind of options they went for in the auction, firstly, and then the fact that they've gone on to make Rahane their skipper. Interesting choice. I know that they did not have any proven captaincy options in their setup, so Rahane that way made sense. But I don't think he would have been a part of my starting 12 ever. So now that they have to force fit someone like him game in, game out, it means they lose out on a lot of flexibility. It means the batting also looks a bit too one-dimensional. It seems extremely dependent on Sunil Narayan's returns now. So it is going to be tricky for them. Quinton de Kock is a great addition, though, no doubt, given the kind of surface Eden Gardens usually offers. He should enjoy himself there in the power play, scoring runs. And yeah, the bowling lineup is more or less the same. So yeah.
Yeah, bowling will come to in just a bit. You mentioned 2 names there, Sunil Narayan, Quinton de Kock. A lot of previews, a lot of articles going around about KKR and their starting 11 for IPL 2025 has those 2 lefties on top. Do they feature for you? And talk to me about their batting depth chart as well, Akshay.
Yeah, they definitely start for me. So just to put things in perspective, of course, my 12 also looks something like this. The top order has Narayan de Kock, Ankush, Rahane, and then Venkatesh, Rinko, Andre Russell, and Ramandeep Singh at number 8. Harshad, Spencer, Vaibhav, and Varun. That's their bowling lineup, like their bottom 4. But yeah, in terms of options, they've got quite a few. It's just that they've now hamstrung themselves by, now they have to bat Rahane up top because he is going to be.
So where would you bat Rahane? Sorry to interrupt.
He is going to be batting at number 3 or 4. I slotted him at 4 because Ankush did pretty well last year at 3. But yeah, it's basically interchangeable. So 3 or 4 is where I see him batting. Anything lower, I don't think he has the gears. Anything higher means Sunil Narayan or Quinton de Kock either are playing out of position or not a part of the 12 at all. So that's also not likely. So which means 3 or 4 is where he will be batting at. And yeah, in terms of options, they've not done too bad a job though in terms of backups. But again, backups का क्या फायदा अगर आपका first 12 अच्छा नहीं. The focus is always on building a very good first 12 and then looking for backups. KKR, if my memory serves me right, was one of those teams that had spent the least on their playing 12. They have enough backups as well, like be it Moeen Ali, be it someone like a Remanullah Gurbaz, Andrik Nokia, Spencer Johnson. They've got a lot of like-for-like options. So that is a pretty, risk-averse move, so to say. But yeah, Narayan, the opener, has to click for them. And apart from that, Venkatesh Iyer, with all that big money on him, I don't know if that money pressure is something he will be subdued by, but fingers crossed he can also come good for them.
Yeah, you look at that graphic and it just shows you it's an equal mix of lefties and righties. You mentioned there they have good backups. I mean, Moeen Ali obviously doesn't play for England anymore, but he'll definitely be a good addition to have off the bench. Next, when you talk about their bowling, they did, of course, rely on that trait last year to get the trophy to the City of Joy. But this year, if you look at the artillery, the versatility, the variety in their attack, do you see KKR posing a threat?
Yeah, I surely do. And again, the bowling is why I feel they still have most of it covered because you look at the lineup last year, swing early on with Vaibhav, and of course you had Stark, but Stark came good on the big days. Yes, maybe Spencer can do it enough if he starts for them. But I also see Nokia starting in quite a few games, so they can have options used as per their wish, which again something both me and Akshay clearly differ on. But that's good. Umran Malik is sadly ruled out, so let's see how that pans out with Chetan Sakaria in that lineup. I think the bowling is still fairly covered. You have middle overs where Sunil Narayan, Varun will bowl along with Anis Nokia is someone that I'm backing on. Okay, he can come good really and use specifically at times against matchups. You have Harshit to finish off. And yes, finishing is well. Maybe I think Varun might get a role if now that Stark is not playing. But I still don't think that bowling lineup has clear weakness like it was last year. Yes, Russell played a massive role by taking plenty of wickets. So I think that blueprint is there for them. It's the bowling is not the bowling is the same. They have the same people. Yes, you don't know if Russell will go the same way, but I still feel given that role quality is there, I would be honestly surprised if they don't execute well because it's not that far off the fall off from Stark and Spencer. Yes, there is a gulf which should be there, but I don't think it's as stark that they don't make it to the playoffs.
Okay, fair analysis from both of you all there because look, KKR, you can say they lost their captain, their coach, and of course the whole breath of fresh air with a few players like Akshay mentioned in his starting 11. Let's see if it comes to fruition. Where do we have them in terms of predictions? Who are heroes and zeros of KKR? Let's take a look at that right now because it'll be interesting to see if we've not messed this one up, and I don't think we have. Again, like I will go first in terms of the MLL predictions. My hero is Rinku Singh, someone Pommie Mbangwa mentioned in the MLL podcast with us earlier. I think he's going to have a blistering year and probably be the one-man army for them. You heard it here first. Their zero is Ajinkya Rahane. I want him to channelize his inner CSK 2024 man, but it wasn't the case, so the 2023 version of him rather. And I think they will finish somewhere in the middle, 5th, 6th, or 7th for me. Let's move on to Nick's predictions because he's gone for a very interesting hero, a very interesting zero, and of course he reckons that he's going to be in the top 4 KKR. So Nick's hero explanation and then zero explanation, please.
I mean hero explanation because he's had good redemption already at the venue that again we've spoken about that. So I think Varun will have plenty to just build on now. So that's why I feel he could really come good even better. You've seen his interview as well, how he's speaking about trying to develop new stuff for the challenge that is to come. And I can't wait to see him come good. So hero there in Varun. Zero no Shreyas because Shreyas offered a very good option of being flexible in terms of entry points. Something that, Akshay touched upon that with Rahane now the captain, you'll have to bat some people somewhere only. And I don't know if that is always great, but I still feel they could still not open with Naren and do a far better job. But I don't know if that will eventually happen. But I still feel the bowling has enough in them and the role clarity is enough so that they can make it to the top 4. So I think Shreyas' flexibility will cause them because Shreyas could come in anytime and still do the job. So let's see how that works out.
So no Shreyas, no GG, no problem for Knicks in terms of KKR making the top 4, which is a very assertive point. Let me know if you guys agree with him in the comments. Now, Akshay's predictions for KKR are also interesting. He's gone for them to finish either 8th, 9th, or 10th. But look at the hero in 0. So Akshay, explain, please.
Yeah, I mean, Ankush is someone I was very excited by last year. I'm hoping, I mean, he does seem like someone who's got a good head over his shoulders and is someone who can potentially serve them in the long term. So if he does get 14 games at number 3 or number 4, expecting him to do some good things. And he will have to shoulder a lot of that responsibility as well because, like Nikhil Bhai mentioned, Shreyas Iyer not being there. Also, I'll add Phil Salt up top and my 0 as well. Sunil Narayan, the opener. It's too high variance in approach for him to be able to consistently be successful over 2 years. I mean, to be honest, it's an approach that's too difficult to consistently do well across the season, let alone two. The fact that he was able to do it throughout the season last year, first of all, was also a reflection of how dumb some of the other teams were. But I'm thinking that teams would be better prepared. Now, bowling attacks would be better prepared. Bouncers, kiss line pe marna. It's not just bouncers. It's not the shorter ones that trouble him. The lines, above his right shoulder, for instance, slow ones across, extremely fuller balls, attempting more Yorkers, even if that means a full toss. He has struggled at those lengths. So, again, it is important that bowling attacks learn this, and I think now enough time has passed by for these analysts to, get it going, understand what to bowl, how to target him. So, I think it'll be very hard for him to do well this time around. And moreover, Chandrakant Pandit being the coach, I don't know how much on board will he be with this idea. Will he be someone who's just going to directly be like, "Hi, Sunil, tu ja, tu kar apna kaam." So that'll also be interesting to see how he sort of works with this setup.
Okay, Eden Gardens, of course, going to be playing host to all the KKR games, at least at home, and then let's see how they do on their travels as well. But KKR, let us know in the comments because there's lots of you boys in terms of supporting the Purple Army. Right, 4 done. Let's move on to the 5th because, of course, we're going to be talking about from K to L, and that is Lucknow Super Giants, and the previewing them because whether Justin Langer can do something unthinkable with Rishabh Pant there being the most expensive IPL player on the planet right now, only time will tell. But key in your questions in terms of LSG predictions, thoughts, and so on and so forth. A fact file to get started in terms of this little preview of LSG. And Pant, lefty. Justin Langer, lefty. Time will tell if they go in the right direction because their standing in 2024 was 7th. Their first 5 fixtures in IPL 25 is a tough one to start off proceedings because that fascinating subplot of Rishabh Pant against his former franchise is the one which will whet the appetite the most. And then it doesn't come easier after that as well. You look at of their record in terms of the last 3 years, it is 44 played, 24-1 for the LSG Army. So it'll be interesting to see how we preview them. Again, first question to Nick's here. LSG, I mean, they're a weird one, aren't they? So think about the Ekana, think about who they've bought, and just look at their balance on paper, Nicks. Do you automatically get top 4, top 6 vibes, or correct me if I'm wrong?
No, I don't get any vibes only. That is the problem. Sometimes with teams, you get clear vibes. They'll finish in top 4 or they'll finish at the bottom. With this team, I think it is very tricky because again, if I go back to the auction review that we had, I felt that their overseas picks, 2 only will start. Most of them would be backups. And that is still there in terms of their form also. So, but Ekana is now better to bat, at least from the limited WPL sample size that we have. But it also had swing. It had good, prodigious new ball swing. Now I'm in 2 minds. If there is swing, then their bowling will be good. But yeah, Avesh Khan will have swing, Mohsin Khan will have swing, but then they'll have to bat also. So now how do they counter that? So I think it is very peculiar. I think if there is one team in this 10 lineup who can do a GT, I think it is only LSG because they have things that are there on paper, but I do not have a clear idea that this is the way they will go. All overseas batting, very little overseas bowling, only one option in Chamar Joseph. So good luck. I think Zaid Khan has plenty of stuff to do. Let's see how he goes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether it's LSG in terms of Lucknow Super Giants or Lucknow Super Guys, because I generally think if you look at their team, yes, they have a Puran, yes, they have Pant, yes, they have Mitch Marsh and so on and so forth. But I don't think any opposition would be worried of them. I don't know whether that's me being naive as a fan, but look, you guys are more than happy to have your say in the comments. Akshay, batting or bowling for LSG? One word answer.
मतलब good bad क्या किसके लिए? Batting
No,
or
I'm
bowling
saying in
for what?
terms of their strength, batting or bowling.
I'll go with batting. Just batting, yeah, for now. I have my reasons, but
Okay.
yeah, bowling right now just seems extremely injury ridden. So yeah.
Okay, so I'll give you first pick then in terms of talking to us about their batting might, because we'll give Nix the bowlers because he mentioned the whole conducive swing element in the Ekana. So batting wise, Akshay, and talk to me about your top 6 also with the help of this graphic. Are you convinced?
Convinced तो मैं कभी नहीं था इस लाइनअप के साथ. In fact, this is probably the one squad जिसको देखे मैं थोड़ा ज्यादा कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ बोल सकता हूँ कि यार नहीं ये टॉप 4 शायद नहीं पहुंच पाएगा. But this is again this is just my opinion, and I'm just talking about predictions. I'm not saying they definitely won't. But yeah, coming back, of course, to how their top 6 looks like for me: Mitchell Marsh, Mitchell Marsh, Aiden Markram, Ayush Badoni, Rishabh Pant, Nicholas Puran, David Miller. This is my top 6. 4, 5, 6, all 3 of them are left-handers. Top 3, all of them are right-handers. So it's an interesting mix that they've got. On paper, I would say it doesn't seem too bad, but when you add a few more caveats to that, Aiden Markram not been in the greatest of form. Mitchell Marsh has now been declared fit only to bat in the IPL, so which means bowling value bilkul nahi hai. That means they have 0 bowling options in that. I mean, one Aiden Markram in their top 6 when it comes to bowling options. Not sure how much is it worth. And if you look at some of the players they also went for in the overseas in their overseas contingent, Matthew Breetzker, then you look at Shamar Joseph with the ball. Just names that make you wonder कि क्या सोच रहे हो यार, like क्यों कर रहे हो ये? Why are you doing this? So what helps is the fact that they've got someone like Shahbaz Ahmad and Abdul Samad. So that lower order gets a bit of cushion. There is slightly decent batting depth, but I don't know how much is it worth. Like तुम्हारा अगर top 6 अच्छा नहीं कर रहा है, what's the point of your 7-8 contributing 10-15 runs? That's my sort of outlook towards it. All in all, spin hitters, barring Nicholas Puran, no one has. So just to be clear, while creating these depth charts for spin hitting for spin hitters and pace hitters, the parameter I went with was a strike rate, a minimum T20 strike rate of 140. Anything above that, spin hitter or a pace hitter against that respective department. So none of them have a strike rate over 140 against spin. And you're supposed to be playing at an Ekana that played the way it did last year. So I'm like, what are you looking at? Like, क्या सोच के आपने बनाया? How are you looking to build this? Unless, like Nikhil Bhai said, if the surface turns out to be a lot more conducive to pace bowling, there is a bit more pace and bounce and carry, then maybe a lot of their other batters will also come into business. But I just don't know what to make of this.
We'll come to the bowling chart in a bit with Nix. I just want to wrap up the batting talking points with Akshay and ask him one important question, right? Where will Pant bat and where do you want him to bat?
Number 5 on both counts. Sorry, I thought you asked me.
Yep. So you want him to bat 3 down.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of chatter happening right now in terms of whether Pant is best used as an opener. We've seen him do that for India as well, opening some of the T20s. You don't buy the opinion that he should be in your top 3?
Sorry, to be a number 4, apologies, just looked at my 12. Pant is that number 4, Puran at number 5. And yeah, I agree with that. I understand where they're coming from. Pant would be best utilized if he's opening the batting, maximizing the power play. But the problem is then who bats in the middle order? You don't have enough middle order options to go for. That's why Pant seems a lot more reliable to at least bat in the middle. Or else you'll have to push someone like an Aiden Markram or Mitchell Marsh. Again, I don't know to what extent will they be willing to do that. Unless they are willing to, take a punt on Himmat Singh to come good for them in the IPL, who's hardly had any game time. He was a part of RCB in 2019. I don't think he even played a single game then. Yeah, for Yuvraj Chaudhary, who was an opener for Uttarakhand. Again, not exactly middle order, not exactly a middle order option. Or someone like a Shahbaz Ahmed or Abdul Samad needs to be promoted up the order. So it's just that they don't have middle order options. They have top order options. So might as well use Pant in the middle because that's how it'll work for them.
Yeah, because you look at some of the guys that they've produced in their own ranks. You're talking about Ayush Badoni. They've got in Miller as well. Whether Miller is going to be a definite starter or is he going to be used for certain games, only time will tell. It just makes you think about the bowling. And Nick's hit the nail on the head in terms of his first thoughts of LSG, in terms of whether they can extract any sort of conditions on offer. And Knicks, again, when you look at their bowling resources, does it make you happy if you were with Zaheer Khan and team going into the season, or again, is there plenty to ponder?
I think there is plenty of potential, 100% yes, because you have a very good lineup of Indian domestic people, but injuries are your primary concern because if Mohsin and Mayank are not fit, then you are looking out for people who can do the same job that they did. And these are not, again, they may not have played 100 IPL games, but the roles that they play are very, very important. So I think that's where the first job will be to ensure all of them are available, because we are also hearing that Avesh Khan is still awaiting NCA go ahead that he's fit enough. So I mean, your three main bowlers that you have, and most of them, you look at those names and that was specialists. Those are the three names who will not even be playing. So I don't know how you can then plan for this entire bowling attack to function, because the other names, Akashdeep, Prince Yadav, Rajwardhan, Hangarkar, Shamar Joseph, these are not the names that are going to be your first options when you think about it. So I think if Mohsin, Mayank, and Amish are not fit, they'll need something really miraculous. It will need brilliant execution, brilliant planning to then keep them in the game. So, again, I would really want to hear from again, I don't think we'll hear it now, but what was the line of thought trying to build a squad like that? Because if you look at the other two squads that they've had in the previous two seasons, they've always had options. And sometimes we felt they have too many options. So they've gone from that to this, and it's a very extreme kind of reaction. So I think injuries dictate plenty of it, because who's your backup to Bisnoy? It's not a known name. Who's your backup to Avesh Khan? Not a known name. Akashdeep is first time into a full-time role. How will that work out? So plenty of question marks there, sadly.
Okay, interesting thoughts. Remember, we will take some of the comments later on in the 12th man segment. We appreciate all you guys keying your comments right now. I know X Factor has this to say about LSG. He says, if LSG win, I'll stop commenting on cricket. Like, they're so horrible. Don't consider me as their hater, but they're so helpless. They're not good even in one area. They're really bad everywhere. LSG fan Ashutosh Bajpai, who's been a long friend for the show, of the show, I should say. LSG strong with batting can provide inexperienced bowling, a cushion of extra runs, big responsibility for Bisnoy and Avesh this season. And the last one from an NSG perspective, we'll take more comments. And I apologize, I haven't taken previous comments for previous teams, but we're trying to shoehorn in a very, very good show for you on MNL. Ayush Kumar saying, if that batting order of LSG fires, then they will challenge SRH and RCB in terms of their run scoring criteria. Pant, Purin, Miller, Markram, and Marsh. High words and expectations there. But look, you're entitled to your opinion. LSG preview almost done and dusted. Let's just get our predictions with regards to LSG right now. And again, producer, before you try to put it up, I just want to ask you guys in the comments to please like this particular video. We're having probably the longest MNL in a while, episode 71. We got Pommie Mbangwa earlier, but we'll just show you our predictions of LSG right now. Sharak, do we have that one up? If we can. And I'm pretty sure me, Nix, and Akshay have differed in our picks. No, we haven't. Where will they finish? We all think they'll finish either 8th, 9th, or 10th. My hero is Nicholas Purin. I think he's going to be absolutely integral for them. Nikhil agrees with me, and no wonder great minds think alike. Akshay also agrees in a way, because he thinks Pant and Purim is going to blossom like a mushroom, and all fair in that regard. So I don't want your hero explanations, because it obviously explains itself. Our zeros, boys. Mitch Marsh doesn't give me conviction in an Aussie jersey or in any IPL jersey. So he's my zero, straightforward. Nikhil, you mentioned bowling, but do you think that'll actually be their zero?
The bowling is again related to injury a lot more, because their batting is still there. You can see those people, they are there in front of you, they're playing. Bowling, we don't know who's going to play and who will be the replacement. So that's why I feel the entire bowling unit entirely might be a zero, because you don't know who's starting. And you don't have options. The problem is, who do you let go of? And if you let go of Shamar Joseph, what did you buy him for? So it's a very weird place to be.
Okay, and Akshay has gone for a larger Goenka partnership in terms of the zero there. Explain, please.
इसका थोड़ा गेम बजाना पड़ेगा अपने graphic designer का. It was Langer Goenka partnership. So yeah, I just that management, that setup, This is
Oh my God.
like,
Oh my
I
word.
just
It's crazy.
yeah. But coming back, so yeah,
I was just
Langer
like, what
Goenka,
other plans does Mr. Goenka have? Is it that KKR LSG fixture where it's the Mohun Bagan fixture of the IPL?
the
And
He's thinking.
pan. So
He's thinking a step above. How will the 100 go if the IPL goes like this and all of
exactly.
that?
Manchester
it's
originals लिया
ridiculous.
ना वहाँ पे.
Yeah, the Super
Yeah.
Giants.
But,
So one second, jokes apart, all of us have gone for LSG to finish 8th, 9th, or 10th. Do you guys let us agree with us in the comments or disagree? You can let us know. But Akshay, why are they finishing 8th, 9th, 10th?
Yeah, I mean, it is because of that zero. Langer has inspired no confidence whatsoever as a coach. Devdutt Padikkal को batting सिखा रहा है. दीपक हुड्डा का वो straight drive ठीक कर रहा है. ये सब नहीं करना होता मेरे भाई. ये सब off the season करना होता है. Season में तेरे को ये decide करना है game में कौन खेलेगा. Like, it's a lot more tactical and very less cricket coaching that's done. ऐसा लगता है summer camp चल रहा है देवदत्त पडिक्कल और दीपक हुड्डा का. You can't do that. So that's where I just don't know what value is he actually adding there tactically. And yeah, secondly, we've seen Sanjeev Goenka, the owner, not exactly one of those who gives the rein or lets go of the rein. And that's where I think there will be a bit of an issue, bit of a problem, because that will invariably lead to some friction. We saw that last year, the way he reacted in front of a live audience, in front of the cameras. I'm not saying he's not entitled to his opinions or feelings. Of course, if you spend so much money, it is the most expensive purchase that's been made in the history of IPL. So that way, yeah, it's understandable. आपके emotions होते हैं, but just he doesn't seem like someone who understands how franchise cricket works, and that could be a bit of a problem.
Okay, I hope he doesn't listen to this because I've been trying to get him on our podcast for the longest time.
सबको बुलाओ, तो सब संदीप गोयनका को बुलाओ, ये सही है.
So I mean, yeah, if we get Mr. Goenka as well, I mean, we might get a sponsor as well. Who knows? Just to wrap up LSG, Ashutosh Bhattacharya, who's been a lifelong fan of the LSG, saying my 11 would be something like this, boys. Bretsky, Marsh, Pant, Badoni, Puran, Miller, Samad, Shabazz, Bishnoi, Avesh, Mohsin, and Akashdeep as impact. Good thoughts over there. And he follows it up by saying, wow, not even one of y'all gave LSG a chance. Have to save this video to cash in the receipts later. Do so, my friend. Hold us
Love
hostage.
that. That's the spirit. Genuinely, Ashutosh. Best of luck. I really hope they prove us wrong.
For sure. Cricket.info randomly saying, I think LSG will definitely be in the top 4. That's why you should follow cricket.com and not Cricket.info, because Cricket.info have just been absolutely talking out of their backside. Jokes apart, it's a joke. Please don't shoot me in the comments. Right, time to, of course, talk about the mighty Mumbai Indians. And where are they? They're here. Where do we have the fact file ready for Hardik Pandya and his boys? Because that will tell us that they have a tough first 5 games. We also know that they've not been having the best of form, if I had to say, in the last couple of seasons, because it's not Mumbai Indians-esque, but nevertheless, they have a lot to, of course, celebrate about. I mean, generally, not this graphic, because it shows that they finished 10th, but if you look at even their IPL record since 2022, they've lost 27 out of those 43 games. So it's obviously been tough at the Wankhede, and Hardik Pandya did get booed last year, but this year, I think he's going to get all the backing from the 12th man of the MI Pulton. Right, let's get straight into it, boys, with the MI group. And Akshay, batting and bowling, they seem all right. Batting's always been their power. You look at some of the names, even right now in their top 7, it gives a lot of oppositions nightmares. So let's start with their batting depth, Akshay, and talk to me about where do you think they can really pack a punch with this set of names in their batting roster?
Yeah, I mean, set of names के लिए, हाँ, yeah, there we go. They have fantastic options. Yeah, on paper, I don't think anyone's ever doubted the kind of players they've had. It's just, the coming together of this setup of these players. Would that work for them or not? That's where they have to look at. Or is their top order was settled even before, the Hardik Pandya, Tilak Verma, Surya Kumar Yadav, Rohit Sharma, 4 household names, so to say, that were going to feature in that top 6. They've also managed to add the likes of Will Jacks, Ryan Rickelton, both of whom can open alongside Rohit Sharma, both of whom could potentially be a lot more consistent than their previous opener, Ishan Kishan. So that's something that's going well for them. Apart from that, youngsters, young names in KL Srijat, they've also got someone like Robin Mins, add the likes of Namandhir, who didn't do too badly at all last year. They don't look too bad. Mitchell Sandner, I think, would be someone to watch out for. Was a part of the CSK setup for like 8 seasons, if I'm not wrong, 7 or 8 seasons. And unfortunately, played no more than 20, 30 games. That's where I think him consistently featuring for MI at the Wankhede could be a game changer for them. But yeah, in terms of batting, the kind of names they have, and also importantly, just look at the all-round options. Their top 6 would have at least 2 bowling options, and if Mitchell Santner bats at number 7, that means 3 bowling options in your top 7. That's not too bad at all. And Will Jacks, Mitchell Santner, Hardik Pandya, all 3 would contribute in different, departments of the bowling attack. So that also means they have variety in their top 7 alone. And then they've got left-handers in Robin Mins, Tilak Verma, potentially even Ryan Rickleton if they go to that. So nice balance there. That's really working well for them. But can they come good? That's the answer. Huh? That's a question we're all looking answers for.
Yeah, we know that Bumrah is going to be a big miss in terms of their bowling arsenal, which we'll show in a bit. But just to finish off the batting chat with you, Akshay, with regards to some of the names you mentioned there, even if you go back to that graphic and see that they have a lack of finishers in some ways, just Hardik Pandya and Corbin Bosch that you've added there in this depth chart. Would you rather have Rickleton or Jacks? Is that an easy choice for them to make because the lack of keepers as well? So again, for the viewers and my understanding, what is your top 6 that you think MI will start with?
I would start with Rickleton, to be honest. Or else, no, wait, sorry, just to be clear, no, I've started with Will Jacks, not Rickleton, because I have Robin Mins as part of the top 7, so keeping ka already sort ho chuka hai wahan pe. Robin Mins is someone I'm looking forward to, especially after what I saw from the MI training sessions and everything. Clearly, MI liked a lot of what they saw of him. He was a part of their touring camp, the group that went to UK in 2022, 2023. And then on top of that, last year also, they were the losing bidders. So they clearly were, wanting to get hold of him. And this time around, they have gotten hold of him. They also have a slot vacant over there. They need a keeper, someone who can bat aggressively. So Robin Mins starts for me ahead of Ryan Rickleton for the keeping slot and Will Jacks for the opening slot. Also because Will Jacks ka wo off spin bhi aa jata hai, they don't have any other off spinner, so to say. Mujib Rahman is there, of course, but I wouldn't consider him to be an off spinner, because he adds those variations. Ek matchup option ke liye bhi you can use Will Jacks, so I've started with him.
Yeah, if you have Rohit Sharma, Tilak Verma, Suryakumar Yadav, and Hardik Pandya in your top 6 in any team, you think that team will do well. Let's get Nikhil's thoughts about MI, because as a CSK fan, Nikhil, you're facing MI first, and maybe because history goes against them in terms of their opening games of IPL, you're safe from a CSK perspective. But how are the other teams going to be looking at MI as an opponent? Do you think that they are going to be coming back with much more of, I don't know, laying down the gauntlet like past Mumbai teams have?
Hey, firstly, I don't think anybody thinks of MI from any other lens. They've always been a very strong team. Even at their lowest, you felt they've pushed a lot of punches. So what happened last year is something that can happen to any team, and that is a good sign for everybody in the franchise future, that you can have the best of the teams, and you see what happened with them in SA20. For a few years, they had the people, they could not do it, and look what they did this time around. So I think that's a lesson that they have also learned. I think the batting is sorting itself. If I'm talking specifically, at least for the first game, maybe Hardik Pandya is something that Chennai would look at, but there is a larger venue question that's there for Chennai to keep in mind. So I'll park that at the side. I think for Mumbai in general, this should be a homecoming. This should be the actual homecoming that they thought would happen last year. So I think the batting is still very, very well covered. It's the bowling that I feel where they could be caught up, because there is that massive question mark over how many games will Jasprit play. I mean, we've all seen that graphic about Jasprit Bumrah and others. There are levels to it, and those levels are massively different. So I think they've done a great job of firstly getting back Trent Bolt, because I think that was a checklist that was missing. They've tried plenty of other left-arm pacers, hasn't worked out. But Bolt is now back home. So I think that's a good thing for them. But I think how do they find a way to fill that massive hole that Jasprit Bumrah will leave will decide how long they go in this tournament.
Absolutely. That's the elephant which needs to be addressed in the room when you talk about MI, IPL 2025. And you, again, bang on in terms of how MI can shuffle their cards in terms of the bowling names that they have. We'll show that in the depth chart right now. And it just goes to show, Nikhil, that we know the top 6 in terms of the batting. But can you now tell me who their certain 4 bowlers are? You mentioned Bolt there. There's probably Deepak Chair if he's injury fit. There's Santner there as well. Do you know your 4-5 names apart from Bumrah who could start for MI this year? Looking at these names.
So again, as you said, I think Bolt definitely starts with Deepak Chair. Their power play is sorted. In my all opinion, I think that they should not have a problem in the power play. But it is what you do in the middle overs with Santner, who is for sure most likely to play all 14 games. So I think it's in the middle overs that they'll have to find a way that how do we use Hardik here? Because at the back end, even with Bumrah, you'll have to find another end, right? You'll have to find somebody to partner him at the back end. And we've seen with Bolt, he's often finished off in terms of bowl 3 up top. That's the same. That is something that happens with Deepak Chair. He also bowls 3 up top. So you're not going to use them in the 15-16. So I think that is where I'm looking at potential of our domestic options being coming in. I'm hoping that Ashwini Kumar gets a few games, left arm pacer, an option there. I've seen a lot of videos of Satyanarayan Raju. I don't know how he will eventually go. I don't think they can take up with an overseas spot with Corbin Bosch. So I think the 4 names are there. That is clear that yes, there is Deepak, there is Bolt, there is Santner, there is Hardik. But what after that? How do you factor in that 5th and 6th option? Because if you play no comments. I'm not going to comment on Mujib. He's going to play at Wankhede. Do not feel that short fine leg. You know, if you know, you know. I'm not saying anything else for that. But I'm mentally scarred for life by that. And the thing with Mujib also, if you play Jacks, you can use it from option, but nobody's going to be scared of it. So Santner ko bhi you can play out. So I think the challenge for Mumbai will lie in the bowling attack after the power play, especially on good batting decks. Because if there is no swing actually, even in the power play, they might tend to have a few of this. So I think plenty to ponder for them. They have a lot of options. There is Ashwini Kumar, Satyanarayan Raju, plenty of options, and they have unearthed some great gems. But remember, Akash Madhwal came because Bumrah was not there. So they have in the past shown how good their scouting is. So let's see who is that option this year.
Okay, one question before we get our predictions unveiled for the viewers watching this about Mumbai Indians is, who are the 4 foreigners, lads? Because I know you guys have spoken about Santner, Rick Hilton. I know some of them are disagreeing with Akshay, saying, Akshay, you deluded. How's Rick Hilton going to open? Akshay will give his thoughts. Relax on that, boys. Santner, you guys have mentioned. Corbin Bosch is a name thrown around a lot in the chat right now, and I know he has a legal notice to serve for the PSL. But again, who are your 4 foreigners? Akshay, you first, and then Nix. I'm saying, forget the conditions. Who do you think they will just automatically blindly choose as their 4 foreigners?
Starting 12 for the CSK encounter. I'll just put it that way. First game, it'll be Jacks. For me, it'll be Jacks, Santner. I've got Mujib, and I'm forgetting whom. Bolt, of course. Yeah.
No Rick Hilton, no Bosch?
No.
Okay, Nix? Agree, disagree?
No, I go with Rick Hilton. I think the upside is far more there. And they've always wanted a lefty-righty combination right up top. So I think that is how they would go. I think on the rest too, I agree with Santner and Trent Bolt. No, not much option there. Mujib is someone that I'm not sure of. If this was Ala Gadhanfar, I would have been sold. Hands down, he will be the X factor that will win Mumbai the championship. But I don't know how much Mujib is scary. But if it is turning like I'm expecting Chepak to, then you would want to Mujib to play. On flat batting decks, I would possibly go and play Bevan Jacobs.
Okay, interesting. Good shout over there. Ayush Kumar saying, or rather asking, Hardik is not playing the first game, right? No, serving a suspension. So I think Suri Kumar might step in as a captain. Everyone would love to see Rohit Sharma captain that in Chepak, but wasn't to be. MI this season, there was someone else saying something else. But look, keep your comments come through. I don't want to single out comments because then many people will feel left out in the chat. But let's just finish off this MI talking points, or rather this conversation about MI rather, with our predictions, and we've gone for some fun ones again. My hero is Ambani, obviously. Cash to my left, baby. Cash to my right, baby. I'm going to splash the cash and make you all win another IPL is what I feel. But look, that's me being a salty RCB fan. My 0 is Will Jacks, again, being a salty RCB fan, because I don't think he will do as well as he did for RCB. I know that in the auction, when Jacks went to Mumbai, Akash Ambani got up, shook hands, all of that stuff for Will Jacks. But I think he's going to be my 0. And where will they finish? I think they'll finish 5th, 6th, or 7th. I don't see them making the top 4. They can't probably finish from 10th to the top 4. I know IPL is a smaller league than the other sporting leagues, but I still feel they'll finish 5th, 6th, or 7th. Let's move on to Nikhil's predictions, where he thinks Tilak Varma is a hero. Let's start there, Nix.
I think he'll have massive opportunity to really just showcase his potential. He's just gone from strength to strength, hasn't he? Scoring tons for India. And again, I think he'll play a very massive role because Rohit, Rickelton, whoever bats in that top 5, top 3. I think Tilak will probably slot in at 3 or 4 is what I feel. So he'll get the best of the time and he's been in form as well. So no reason to not think he'll not do well. So Tilak Varma is my hero there. The 0 is injuries because firstly you already don't know what is going on with just in terms of how many games he'll play and the backups also. Reece Topley, you don't want him to just injure himself while trying to feed. That's an injury concern. Deepak Chair, we've known, has had history with injuries. Trent Bolt is the one guy who will feel, iski saath kuch nahi hona chahiye. So I think injuries to key players has already hampered them because again, Allah Ghaznfar, to me, I don't know, you can rate it differently. I just feel losing Allah Ghaznfar has taken that steam out because even with no Bumrah, I would have still felt a little bit confident. You can play that mystery card in the first few games, get those 2-3 wins early, and then really set the tone. So to me, and that is also why I feel they might just miss out on the playoffs, possibly 5th, 6th spot because injuries are Bumrah nahi khelta.
Yeah, I mean, fair points. And I generally think, like you mentioned, even if they get the first couple of games won, they can, of course, go on to probably fight for top 4, but they never win their first game. That's the problem. But let's see if MI, of course, managed to turn that around. Abbas Kunde in the comments saying unreal hate from Avnisha on MI. No, mate, it's actually my friend here, Akshay Kumaraswamy, because he has them in the doldrums. If you look at this particular prediction chart, he's gone for them to finish 8th, 9th, and 10th. Unbelievable. And again, the 0 is Jake Freakum.
Bhai, to be clear, पूरा column गलत है, पूरा column गलत है, सब गलत
Are
है.
you
Why would my
serious?
hero be that bowling attack? Just वो bowling attack को मैं hero बना रहा हूँ ना अभी से.
Mr.
Imagine
Graphic
how
guy.
horrible we are. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Imagine how horrible we are. I'm saying the same thing as injuries, and he's saying that is the hero.
Look, I think this graphic we generally messed up.
उसी को hero है बताऊँ.
This graphic we generally messed up. So, graphic designer and producer, get your head in the game, mate, and get the predictions right. So, Akshay, for just reconfirmation, what is your hero and 0 for MI?
Yeah, and to be clear, folks, it wasn't my mistake. I see at least 4 comments in front of me. Akshay, what on earth? Like, kya chal raha hai? Wasn't my idea. I, in fact, had a couple of quirky statements there. For hero, it was, I'm only believe on Jassi bhai. Bas, Siraj bhai ne bol diya aur main manta hu. Bas, no one is remotely close. Agar wo fit nahi hai to khatam. My 0 is that dressing room. That's it. Like if things are still going to be as big an issue as it was last year, where there seemed to be a lot of groupism. Apparently, players weren't entirely open to listen to their captain, and all of that going around. If that continues to happen this year, I see no reason how they can function as a setup. So that is going to be the biggest challenge. If they're able to tick that box, nothing can stop them. At least nothing can stop that batting lineup. The bowling is still a huge question mark.
Okay, Mumbai Indians fans, let us know in the comments how you feel about your team, how we feel about our fucked up graphics, and lots more in the comments. And it's tongue-in-cheek. It's the IPL. You can banter us. We made a few mistakes. We're human after all. But we will, of course, sort it out going forward. Now, of course, 5 down and 5 more to go.
One last thing. My prediction, of course, for finish of is contenders. That is same.
So where do you see them finish?
8, 9, 10. अरे वो bowling attack अगर बुमराह 5 game नहीं खेला, so after the auction, what I told was they have at best 8 solid overs जहाँ पे they can hope कि no runs are scored, 4 of Bumrah and potentially 4 of Ghaznfar if he comes good. Now दोनों नहीं है, तो फिर बचा क्या? तुम अगर सैंडनर, बोल्ट, चहर इन सब से एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हो कि they contain runs, भाई नहीं होने वाला है. So I don't see that. Bowling attack is hard, like it's practically non-existent. So it's going to be very tricky without Bumrah.
Okay, interesting. And a fun fact to end the MI chat through Darshan Senthil saying last time MI won their first game of the season, it was versus CSK in Chepor.
Richard Levy, 15-20.
Brilliant stuff. And Ayush Kumar randomly saying Rohit's going to have an absolute time of his life this season. First 500 plus IPL season this time. Ayush, thank you for that little comment. And remember, apologize to people like Ayush, Asim, Darshan, Vedang, Chandan, all you guys have some fantastic thoughts in the comments and questions. We'll take them in the 12th man segment. I apologize. Maaf kar do bhai. Right, let's move on from Mumbai Indians to the Punjab Kings, because they've had one hell of an auction. Wholesale changes, we presume that, and we can talk about them in great depth right now, because Rocky Bhai, or should I say Ricky Bhai, Ponting with, of course, his favorite Indian as captain in Shreyas Iyer. Who knows if they come to the party? They have Yuzvendra Chahal, they have Arshdeep Singh, they've got a lot of people. They're playing in Mulanpur as well as Dharamsala, and of course, they have the same jersey, which is sad. Right, let's talk about Punjab Kings and show you that team fact file, because ideally, they want to improve in their standing. They've always finished in the lower half of the IPL, sometimes sixth comes to mind, I think, in those 3 seasons in 2018, 19, and 2020. The first 5 fixtures this year for them is not that bad. Depends how you look at it. They start off away to GT, and then they move on to LSG before they play their home games against RR and CSK, and then SRH to their 5th game of the season. Even their record since 2022 doesn't look promising, losing 24 out of the 42 played. So Punjab, with a renewed coach and a renewed captain, only time will tell how they go about it. First up, quick first thoughts before we get into the batting depth and the bowling depth. Nick, I'll start with you. Punter and Iyer, is that going to be something that can bring the DC 2020, but in a Punjab disguise, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, they could. Very well could. I think my strong thoughts after the auction review were, I don't know if I would come up with this set of folks in terms of potential options, but that was still more to do with the backups that they had picked. Now, that could still go down that route, but on paper, if you look at that 11 and you say, okay, Josh starts with perhaps Imran, I have Shreyas at 3, Nehal at 4, Maxwell 5, Stoinis 6, Shashank 7, Marco Jansen 8. Not a bad lineup, but the catch is a lot of these people are very high variance. And maybe that will epitomize Punjab Kings in a way that they could do anything on their very given day, and which is why they should be scared of. But you just hope they don't self-compass. That's all. Just you'll need that middle order to click, and you'll need Shreyas to have a banger of a season, because everybody in there has a great strike rate, excess of 140, 150. But those averages are not always great. To win the IPL, you'll need a couple of people to have a 550, 600 kind of a season where you are getting bang. So if they got a few banks in that lineup, I think the lineup has what it takes to win the IPL.
Okay, interesting. There's a lot of noise being made about the coach, Ricky Ponting, and of course the look and feel of that squad, Akshay, in terms of so much of Australian energy being called out. We'll show you the depth charts in just a bit. But again, your first thoughts about this. Is it a simple formula? Preeti Zinta, Ricky Ponting, Punjab Puttars, Punjabi Pajis, and then the power of Punjab in the IPL. Can they break the jinx this year?
They surely can. I do think, like, even after the auction, when we sort of reviewed the teams, I was a lot more lenient on them. I had liked the side a lot more than some of the other folks. So I still would stand by it. I think they've built a fairly decent all-round squad. And even the 11 sort of seems to be coming not too bad. And I'm just hoping that a couple of ideas that I have in mind, if they are, I mean, ideas as in terms of positions and the kind of players that play at a few of these positions, if they stick to that, I think they'll be much better placed to, make a dash for the title this time around. But yeah, it looks very good. Arshdeep, Shreyas, Chahal were the big purchases, like you mentioned. But apart from that, in Marco Jansen, Nehal Vadera, the retention of Shashank Singh, Prabhsimran Singh up top. So I think they've got a nice, decent core there. A more than decent mix of youth and experience, with it sort of skewing towards youth a lot more than experience, which again works well for them. They can retain a lot of the score for the next 8-10 years easily if they want to. So yeah, hopefully if they sort of execute their plans to the T, I see no reason why Punter cannot be the one breaking the jinx for them.
And like he said, like you said, like I said, like Nick said as well, Punter can literally put an arm around the shoulder of the guys of Stoinis, Maxwell, get the best out of them, saying, listen, you boys haven't won an IPL. Wake up and smell the coffee. This is a chance right now for us to do so. So let's give Nick the batting opportunity right now to talk about it further. Because if you look at the depth chart, Nick, yes, they have Shreyas Iyer. You probably have someone like Josh Inglis, who's had a fantastic Champions Trophy. Glenn Maxwell, we know how he's not delivered in this franchise, his history, but nevertheless, a renewed Maxwell. So where are we going here with the batters? And are you confident that they can find their first 11 quick?
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Again, the 11 that I made, I think it covers most of their bases. Again, I am starting with Josh English. They could simply start with someone like a Priyansh if they want to, because potential to have, you have people who can push up, because that will allow you to play an extra pacer at the back end. So I think there is plenty of backups as well, because Prabh Simran, you look at those backups for keepers, that is sorted: English, Prabh Simran, and Vinod. That middle order, of course, there is no replacement for Shreyas Iyer. You have one in Mushir Khan where you feel, okay, if it doesn't, something happens to him, we have somebody to back that up. That lower order is where I feel they'll have to really click together. Maxwell, Stoinis, and their backups invariably are Aaron Hardy and Azmatullah Umar. And now they always haven't had the best of their times in T20s, and Maxwell and Stoinis, you don't know which one of them will turn up and how consistent they will be. So I think that is the only way, because otherwise, as I said, even if I look at those names till 8, they all bat well and they all can have great days. So it is just about finding a way to complement each other well, and that is going to be their biggest challenge. That Josh Inglis, Prabh Simran, wow, crazy combinations to think of at the top of mind. Then you have Shreyas Iyer, Nehal Vadera, different type of players, Maxwell, Sonny Johnson. So, and you have Sushant Singh at the bottom, and again you have Shreyas Hegde, who can still come in and really bash up you if you want to play that way, push somebody up, like if you want to open with Stoney. So the squad has good depth in terms of options. You could not play Josh Inglis, play 4 all-rounders if you want, play all of Maxwell, Stoinis, Omar Zai, Anson. Nobody's complaining. So plenty of options on the paper. It's just about getting that first 11 to click. I think if that first 11 doesn't click in time, then it's a two-way sword. No, if you have too many options, sometimes you can get lost in, okay, let's try him. So that first 11 that they think is their best 11, it has to click immediately.
Okay, before I go on to Akshay and the bowling resources that they have, Nix, I have to ask you and put you on the spot here. Who do you think their 4 foreigners will be? And do you think there will be a tinge of nepotism from Ponting to pick all 4 Aussies? Because I know he has Marco Jansen, he has Omar Zai, potentially has a Lockie Ferguson in the scheme of things as well. So what are your top 4 for overseas picks for Punjab this season?
For me, it's very clear. I think it should be Josh, Maxwell, Stoinis, and Jansen. I would want to play Lockie, but I don't know how fit he is, because he's recently got injured and missed the Champions Trophy. Even if he was fit, maybe you can take that risk with not playing Josh, but I still think you have to play those 3 all-rounders in the middle. I don't think you can not play them and get away with it.
Okay, interesting. Let me know if you guys agree with Nikhil in the comments below before we move on. Like this video, guys. We're almost 13 likes away from 100 likes, and we're going to be here for slightly longer. SRH going to be discussed, RCB going to be discussed, and we have the unbox to show you along with RR to be discussed as well. Akshay, again, you summed it up well in terms of your analysis of the Punjab Kings. Now, even if you look at their bowling resources, brother, I mean, where do you stand with them? I mean, Arshdeep, yes, Chahal, yes, Marco Jansen, yes, someone you wanted at RCB. But can they defend a 140 in Mulanpur with these names?
Yeah, I think they've, stitched together a more than decent attack there, like I said earlier. In fact, that spin bowling attack of Chahal, Brar, and Glenn Maxwell, again, arguably one of the better spin attacks in the tournament, covers all bases, turning it away from the right-hander, away from the left-hander. You've got a slow left-armer, a right-armer, of a leg spinner. So, again, keeping them in good stead. There are 3 options, 2 of whom would potentially bat in their top 7, top 8, which once again gives them a lot more flexibility in choosing the bowling options. So for me, when it comes to the bowling attack, I have Lockie Ferguson starting ahead of Josh Inglis. If he's fit, he has to start. And I'm guessing that he is going to be fit, because ab tak koi aisa ye nahi, and if I'm not wrong, he's also joined them today. So fingers crossed he will be able to start for them. If that happens, a pace bowling lineup of Arshdeep, Lockie, Marco Jansen, and someone like a Vaishak, Vijay Kumar, or Yash Thakur, whoever they go to, I don't think that's too bad at all. It covers most bases there. Arshdeep, of course, is an all-phase bowler, arguably India's premier all-phase bowler after Bumrah. Then you've got someone like a Lockie Ferguson, who adds a bit of that oomph that Avnish likes to see in his bowling attack. And then you've got Marco Jansen, who can be lethal up top, who can also be used as a middle overs enforcer. And then Vaishak, Yash, both have that ability to bowl a Yorker. I've included them over here just based on what I've seen of them. Might not be a consistent death overs option, but still, they have that option open should, some of the other bowlers go for runs. And before I forget, Kuldeep Sen, of course. We all remember the 22 season where he broke through. Uske baad, he's not had too many chances for RR, but you never know if he gets a consistent run. He can also come on his own.
Okay, Punjab Kings, you guys, of course, always have something to say. I know Sukhveer is a big fan of Punjab. There are lots of fans that I know who support this team. And time will tell. I know I have my best friend Tanya, who's now moved to the US, and she can't wait for RCB to play Punjab twice in 3 days. That'll be a banter weekend for sure, and it'll be something to behold indeed. Now, before I put the MNL prediction sheet out for Punjab, I want to take God's name and please pray that this graphic is all right, because I swear to God, Shorak and Alex, if you mess this up, I will absolutely lose my mind. Right. Can we simply say this is what we feel? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Akshay is
me,
nodding. This is nodding. And I've gone for my zeros, Preeti's entire. I just think, Preeti, I mean, apart from you smiling in the competition, I generally think I feel sad for you every year, because you might show all the energy outside the field. It just doesn't get translated on the field with your boys. But your hero is Ricky Ponting, and I hope he pulls something out of the rabbit of the hat for you in terms of this year. But I still put y'all as wooden spoon contenders, i.e. 8th, 9th, 10th. I know Punjab fans will hate me, but look, hate's a strong word. Nikhil, why is Shreyas Iyer your hero for Punjab Kings this year?
What is left for him to win is the IPL with Punjab. What hasn't that lad won in the recent times? All of this without a central contract to boot. So plenty for him to just come in and boss and show that, he spoke about not at times not getting enough credit for what he did with KKR. Greater team now to do that with Punjab. He'll have a massive cult following if he just takes them to playoff, plays freely, and gets them to that title. So I think plenty to gain for Shreyas. And again, he'll play a massive, massive role at 3. A bank. There will be a lot of eyes on him, and that's good. I don't think he's someone who shies away from that. But the 0, I still have them in my top 4 again, which is what I feel that lineup is capable of that. But that 0 that can push them out of it is also unpredictability. Now, that lineup, as I said at the start of this team, that they have all the makings of a great side. But if they don't click, if that middle order Maxwell Stoinis do not have the season that they want, even if Hardy Omarzai comes in, they'll have to have the times of their life to really pull this through. So I think plenty relies on Maxwell, and that unpredictability, that is something that could take them off.
Okay, unpredictable Punjab Kings, maybe or maybe not, but Nick's look has them in the top 4. Akshay as well has Punjab in the top 4, which is fascinating to be fair. But you've gone for a little oxymoron, a conundrum. Marcus Stoinis, the opener, is your hero. Marcus Stoinis, the finisher, is your 0. Explain, please.
Yeah, this is basically what I was saying up top. With Punjab, it is going to be crucial of how they use Marcus Stoinis. I really think over here, especially with the kind of options they've gone ahead with outside Stoinis, he needs to open for them. Should he be used in the middle order, then Priyan Sharia ko aana padega. Gurnur Pannu, if I'm not wrong, that's the name. Or Harnoor, sorry, apologies. Gurnur Singh Brar, Harnoor Singh Pannu. He's another dasher, another left-hander opener who's done really well in the Sher-e Punjab Trophy. He could come in, or Priyan Sharia could come in. 2 names that I don't think are there yet right now. This is by Marcus Stoinis opening with Prabhsimran Singh. I think is not too bad at all. Stoinis has done well, in the BPL at that position for the Stars. So if they do that, that also allows them to use Nehal Vadera, at number 5, number 6. So if Marcus Stoinis comes there, then that middle order also looks very chaotic, and people will have to then bat out of position. So if Marcus Stoinis opens, this is how my 11 looks like, to be honest. Stoinis, Prabhsimran. Number 3, Shreyas. Number 4, Maxi. Number 5, Shashank. Number 6, Nehal. Number 7, Marco. Number 8, Harpreet. All of them will potentially be batting in a position that more or less used to. So that's where I think they would be best suited to sort of use Stoinis. So yeah, that's pretty much my reasoning behind it.
See, just playing devil's advocate, probably Marcus Stoinis' best IPL knock was in Chepauk when he was a finisher, right? Did he open that game? He didn't.
He wasn't a finisher. He batted at number 4 for LSG, number 4, number 5. Wasn't exactly a finisher. Puran was sort of penciled in for that role.
Okay, fair. So let's see if that actually translates in reality with Prabh Simran in Sotoinus opening. Nick's reckons it's Prabh Simran in English. So, of course, you guys can let us know in the comments as well. There is a few guys shouting in the comments saying, wow, that's a bold prediction by Avnish where they'll finish. Avnish, what a hater for PBKS. I hope RCB will finish 10th place. Damodar, relax, brother. That's why Indian fans go through different angles. You go through GT, KKR, I go through RCB, brother, so it's fine. Don't hate us, and I won't hate you as well. What's this, bro? Avnish is selecting Hero and Zero as owner's name. We're just having fun. We're just having fun. Damodar Bala saying, I'm going with Nikhil's predictions. Sukhvi doesn't like me, and that's understandable. Poker Life saying, Marco Janssen, so good in the power play. He had to be mentioned twice. Indeed. Sonika giving his or her thoughts. I'm not sure. Sonika is a unisexual Indian name, for sure. I know that. But they've said Josh, Prabh, Shreyas, Maxi, Marcus, Sushant, Jansen, Yuzi, Arsh, Vijay Kumar, Vishak, and broad impact, Nihal and Kuldeep as well featuring over there. So again, welcome all your thoughts in terms of all of that. I think
And also,
yeah.
वो टंग वाले बात पे गलत बात मत बोलो. Stoinis was playing at number 3, please. I hope.
Yeah, exactly. He was playing at number 3. We're almost without a home ground. ऐसे ही चल रहा है. Next year we'll be playing 2 matches in Kashmir also. Mate, you got to figure out your franchise out. They want to go to beautiful parts of the country to play cricket. By all means. In fact, Punjab, I remember, played at the Holkar Stadium as well. I think one game against
2017, 2018.
RCB, the no-look ABD 6 game there. Right, let's move on because we've really shot our time extra on MNL this time around. So Punjab, we move into the R's and we'll start with the Rajasthan Royals next because we have to preview them. I love this franchise in many ways, more than one reason. Dravid, Sanju, Jaiswal, all the Kerala fans who invariably become Rajasthan Royals supporters.
I really thought you were ending it with Shilpa Shetty, but okay.
No. Shilpa and Bastian and Raj, all of them can just be the back burners. The real stars of the show is Sanju, Jaiswal. I like Riyan Parag. I like how they've been a conveyor belt for Team India in the last couple of years with, of course, characters like Kuldeep Sen, like Akshay mentioned not too long ago. Jitesh has come to RCB, of course, but RR, I still like y'all. I hate y'all for knocking us out last year, but that is how the rub of the mill works. Right, team fact file time. Now, this team, of course, has Sanju as their captain. Dravid is a head coach. Dravid's coming back into the scheme of things. And we have to point out other things as well, where ultimately you look at their record since 2022, and it's not a shambolic one. They won 26 out of their 47 games, and they start their campaign away to Hyderabad, which is going to be a fascinating one. Right, Rajasthan Royals, what are they going to do, Akshay? Would they replicate the form that they did last year? Because normally in the last couple of years, we've been associating this team being a Formula One car, getting out of the traps very soon, but essentially probably running out of petrol. Is that a fair assessment and analogy? Akshay, I'll start with you.
Yep. They've always suffered from that problem of peaking too early. Across the season, is 3 seasons, if I'm not wrong, they had a win percentage of over 70 in the first half and less than 30 in the second half. Just going on to show how they've struggled there, between the two halves. And coming to, of course, their squad this time around. Interesting one. Batting again. Batting was all but confirmed during the retentions itself. They went ahead with, 5 batting options when it came to retentions. Dhruv Jurel, Riyan Parag, Sanju Samson, Shimron Hitmar, Yashasvi Jaiswal, all of whom also feature in the pace hitters list. So that's
sorry, 1 second. My correction. I said Jitesh played for them. Wasn't the case, right?
Jurel.
In Punjab. Sorry, I mistook him for Dhruv Jurel. Apologies. People will be like, yaar, kaun hai RCB ke jersey mein, pata hi nahi hai, and all that stuff. Sorry, Akshay, can go on.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, the top order looks more or less settled, and adding someone like a Nitish Rana, I think, is not too bad an option at all. Indian batter who can also bowl a bit, but even if you chuck the bowling, a solid number 3 guy who averages 26, 27, strikes at 130, 140. So, matlab, aapko wo thoda bana ke de sakta. He can also stand his ground if the situation needs it, can also attack spinners if the situation needs it. So, not too bad there. And what it also gives them is, it gives them the luxury of being the only side to feature 5 Indians in their top 5. So that means they can focus all of their overseas slots on their bowling, which you would imagine is a good thing. But they then decided कि you know what, अभी बहुत सारी हमने अच्छी चीजें कर ली है. So let us try and see how we can F this up. So you just see some of the bowling options they've gone for. I think Nikhil Bhai will talk about it. But with batting, a nice split between left-handers, right-handers. Their top 7 consists of 3 lefties, 4 righties. Finisher in Shimron Hetmai, that also looks good. Batting in and of itself looks good. Bowling isn't the worst, but between the batting and bowling, that's where they are going to struggle. An issue they had last time as well. They've tried to fix it with someone like a Vanindo Hasranga. Not sure if that can come good for them. Then Mahesh Tikshana, Fazal Haq Farooqi, Jofra Archer. Interesting names as supporting acts. Who can be the superstar amongst them? Not sure.
Okay, interesting that you say that. I just want to get Nix's thoughts about the bowling depth in just a bit. But actually, let's come back to you really quickly about Rahul Dravid and how he can be the mentor, the coach, the idol, the role model for all those youngsters in this team. And I'm talking about the likes of Jaiswal, Samson, who came under Dravid's coaching stint in D at the time in 2015. You look at Riyan Parag, you look at some of the other names in that list. Do you think Dravid can actually have potentially one of his best years as a coach in IPL this year?
Yeah, what I know of Dravid in the 2016 and 17 season was he was one of those coaches who loved breeding in youngsters, who loved giving them opportunities in the squad. Delhi of 2017, man, there were like 6 youngsters in the top 7. Karun Iyer, Rishabh Pant, Sanju Samson, I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting at least 2 more names. So, Shreyas Iyer. So, given all of that, I'm expecting something similar to happen, even in the choices they've gone for, be it Maphaka, be it even someone like a Vaibhav Suryavanshi, of course, 13-year-old. So, interesting choices that they've gone for, but because that batting lineup looks settled, I don't know if they can tweak too much. But yeah, that's what I'm expecting off of him. Tactically, 16 and 17, again, Delhi Daredevils struggled. They finished in the bottom half both times. But he's someone who's won the World Cup for Team India and he was the first one to do so in 18 years. So yeah, I'm hoping that he can do something good for Rajasthan Royals as well.
Okay, I know lots of people have given me absolute pelters in the comments with regards to the font. I apologize, but now I've changed it. I hope this is okay. Good to great. I know all you guys are being absolute aesthetic policemen in the chat, if I can put it that way. But it is what it is. But thank you for that. We love feedback. And someone's giving it to us in terms of, guys, first decide where's Aaron Hardy playing, where's like Omarzai playing.
Yeah.
Where are they playing? Just put it out there.
Punjab, galat hai.
Both are Punjab. Yeah. Look, don't blame us. We're at least correcting ourselves in the course of the show. Let's move on kindly to Nick's in terms of the bowling depth chart right now. And we can tell you that RR look weak in certain areas, but they also look strong in a few areas. So where are their strengths and weaknesses when we talk about bowling, Nikhil Popat?
Yeah, the strength is Jofra Archer. And their weaknesses, how do they cover up losing out on Chahal, losing out on Ashwin? They replaced them with Manindu and Tikshana. I was very scared when Akshay was going like, they've picked excellent set of overseas guys. Ke sabhi wo bowling mein dal sakte, but then you go ahead and you pick people who you don't know how they'll turn up. Manindu Hasaranga last had a good season. You'll have to think a bit. Can he do the role that Ashwin did? Or is Tikshana going to be your Ashwin? Because you'll need 2 pacers at least to start. Sandeep alone can't do the job. So I feel it's a very weird and a very non-RR thing for me. Of course, you'll have to miss out the left-arm pacers here. They are not there. So forgive them for that. Akash Madhwal, will he start? I don't know. I think at this point of time, I'm only sure of 2 people who should definitely be playing most of those games. That is Jofra and Vanindu and Sandeep Sharma, of course. Sandeep Sharma being the impact sub there. So these 3 guys start, but who do they go with? Do they go with a Fazal Haq? Do they go with Kwana Mafaka? Do they go with Akash Madhwal? It's not a name that you are very clear that ye naam hai, do this and you'll be sorted. So I think it gives them room. It is good, but they'll have to really hope that they click, because again, these are all the options that are 4th or 5th in some teams. These are their first 4 options. So that is where I think the difference will lie in terms of stepping up and doing that role. So Dravid has plenty of stuff to take care of.
Plenty of stuff to take care of, plenty of travel to get done as well, because of course they're stationed in Jaipur, but now the last couple of years, at least last year, they've been playing some of the games in Guwahati. That'll continue. They play a big one in Guwahati with hosting Dhoni's men, or should I say Gaikwad's men, there in CSK. So let's see how it really unfolds for RR this season. And we'll also kind of show you our predictions right now with regards to the Rajasthan Royals, because one thing is clear, that we like this team. Before I put the predictions out, a kind request to quickly help us move to 100 likes. We're 95 likes, so 5 more people, 100 likes does a good job on this preview. And we're about 40 odd from 114,000 subscribers on cricket.com. So please, quickly just jump on and subscribe if you guys are new. Come back to RR and to finish up this conversation, predictions in terms of the MNL style. And this is what we have for you right now. And this is not a fucked up graphic. It is clear, concise, mistake-free. So my hero is Rahul Dravid, not just in childhood, but even in IPL 2025. I think this man as a coach will have a lot to say with regards to the impact of the players that he's dealing with. The Jaipur weather could really kind of suss them out. They play a home game at Jaipur against RCB in the afternoon. They've lost those before. So I don't know whether they will do well. I like the fact that Jaipur has been a fortress for them, but the weather has been a pain in the backside. Right, where will they finish? I reckon top 4. This is not me being biased. I generally think the men in pink could turn up, and how. Nikhil, your hero is Jaiswal. That's straightforward, but why?
Because I think he didn't have the season that I wanted him to have last time around, and he'll want to just come out and be very free, very expressive, because he can do that. And again, one of those few Indians who I feel can go on and really break plenty of records in terms of batting itself, in terms of how high intent he goes about his cricket. So that is Yashasvi Jaiswal. The zero is batting backup because there is no backup for Shimron Hetmar. And he at times has also been very injury prone. What happens to Shimron? If something happens to Shimron, who is your backup? You have no overseas backup for it. You don't even have a few all-rounders who you can push up the order and ask them to do the job. So I think the batting, RR is one of those teams, like say with MI and the others, that they need their first 10 to be fit every single game. They cannot afford to have any injuries, because Sanju is recently cleared fit to play. But God forbid something happens, the backups, I don't know if Vaibhav can come in and just really take off. So I think in terms of batting backup, overseas bilkul bhi nahi hai. So that is why I feel it could lead to Samson playing a certain way. It could lead to Jaiswal probably thinking, can I go hard, can I not go hard? Because it was a 6-7 that was troubling them over the past few years. Now that is even more weakened, because again, Shubham Dubey will play, but how will he turn up? These are all new guys. We don't know how they will eventually turn up. So I think that's why I feel they could potentially be slipping down the table.
Okay, interesting. I love how this team actually sees my prediction with Nick's and Akshay's completely different, because even if you go back to that prediction chart, it shows that I backed them to finish top 4. Nick's thinks that they'll be a wooden spoon contender, and Akshay has the middle table muddle. We'll go to Akshay then, because he thinks Dravid, like me, and his comeback as coach will have a big positive impact, I reckon. His zero is Jofra Archer's comeback. Interesting that he thinks that. Let's get Akshay's thoughts on his predictions. Akshay, again, discuss.
Yeah, so with Rahul Dravid, of course, briefly spoke about it earlier. Just to add to why I think he could potentially be a game changer, one thing that I found very refreshing with his India stint was the fact that he was a lot more open to data. He was a lot more receptive to trying to understand what are the different tiny little variables. We all remember the role someone like a Himanish played, with Team India. And that is the kind of nuance T20 requires. You need to go to the details, because there are only 120 deliveries. You need to try and pinch out every ounce of advantage wherever you can. And I think Rahul Dravid and that mindset he brings in, I think that'll be a great value add for this RR setup, especially given the kind of bowlers they've gone ahead with. Jofra Archer, even the Champions Trophy wasn't the greatest. He's looked fairly okay, just another run-of-the-mill 140 clicks kind of bowler, and not the menacing Jofra Archer that he was in 2018, 2019. So that's where I think it'll be a huge hole for Rajasthan Royals if Archer does not come good for them, because that means they have Fazal Haq Farooqi, Tushar Deshpande, Akash Madwal, Yudhvir Singh Charak. Again, like I said earlier, these sare naam achhe hain, but these are all supporting acts. You need a superstar around whom all of these supporting acts come in and do their role. Who is that superstar? We don't know.
So they have all these junior actors, and not got the big boy, one of the Khans. They all have like these. Who are the supporting actors right now in Bollywood?
Pankaj Tripathi, Jaideep. I'm not saying again, like, jab supporting bolta, it's not because मैं उनको गाली दे रहा. I love them. They are easily the best actors. But point is कि उनका role बहुत limited है. You need someone who sort of can, drive fear in the oppositions, can actually come and win games just by themselves. So I don't know if these are the kind of players who can do that.
Just one line though, I think this will mean they'll have to go money ball by clutching to straws in extremes. Exact use of exact personnel in that perfect manner. If it happens, they qualify. Otherwise,
But that's where Dravid comes into play. I think he's someone who can
yeah,
do that. That's
possible.
one guy who-
कर भी सकते हैं.
yeah, yeah.
It's about execution.
Well, I think what Nick said is absolutely right, and that's what I'm leaning on with RR. The fact that if it comes off, they could really again start like a fast car and potentially get one hand into that top four. Sonika saying they're probably playing 11 is this: Sanju Jaiswal, Rana Meshan in this team, Rian Dhruv, Hitty, Hasiranga Tiksana, Sandeep Faruqi. There's Jofra, Tushar Impact with Tushar, and then the impact players being Akash Padwal and Shubham Dubey. Avnish, please tell me that this team is an upgrade or downgrade after letting go of Butler and Bolt. I mean, to be fair, I think it's more of a downgrade than anything else. But again, you have your say. He says, completely agree with Akshay thoughts on Jofra being a zero. He's not the same old Jofra Archer. And X Factor saying RR's bowling is really worrisome at this point of time. And Siddharth Sharma shouting out saying, thanks, Nick Spice, for reading my blog on Power Play Stats for IPL 2024. Deeply appreciative from Nick's and all of us here. If you're enjoying the show, Siddhartha, please hit the like button right now. Just tuned in before the RCB preview. We're going to get there. We're going to get there, and we're going to not be biased whatsoever because I think RCB are going to win the IPL. Jokes. But point being, let's talk about this team, the Bengaluru boys, because I know the unbox is happening right now as we speak, which we'll show you later on our platform. In fact, we've already put some fascinating shots out from there. Our boys are already at the Chinnaswamy. They're seeing the fireworks go off, the light works from DNA, Virat Kohli throw balls into the crowd, him hugging Phil Salt. There's all happening outside the Chinnaswamy, in the Chinnaswamy, I should say, right now. And we'll talk about that in just a bit. But my beloved RCB, let's put the fact file out right now. Rajat Patidar is being christened as the new captain at the Chinnaswamy. He takes over from Faf du Plessis. Yes, he has Virat Kohli to help him on the field, but only time will tell how he goes about in his debut season as a captain. Fourth last year, Andy Flower remains as a head coach, and of course, he's got the likes of Dinesh Karthik to help him. They've added Omkar Salvi as their bowling coach, so it'll be interesting to see how RCB go about their business. They start against KKR, then they go to Chennai, then they have GT at home, then MI away, and then DC at home. That's a fucking 5 games, which are fire games. And look at their record since 2022. Not so bad. They've won more than they've lost, but we'll get into some of the talking points right now. Akshay, it's only fair that I start with you, mate. Isala! Cup Namde. 100% it's happening, bro. When are we going to see it? Surely the stars are aligned. Number 18, 418. We're not 18, but we can feel 18.
We can just feel abhi aur kya bolo. Because when I look at Mike Hesson, and if you remember first ever episode of Unwind, he was like RCB should win IPL 2025. और फिर टीम प्रीव्यू में जाके उनको 9th पे डाल दिया तो फिर बचता it's hard. So I get it. It's one of those sides that is definitely going to divide or polarize opinion, which has always been the case with RCB, but this time even more so. Again, it's hard for me to also separate bias. Jitna bhi objective hona chaho, there will always be a bit of bias that creeps in. But the more I look at it, I'll have to say I like the look of the bowling attack. I really think this is one of their best pace attacks, and it is something that could actually do well at the Chinnaswamy if the conditions are in their favor. That if being the operative word in this entire statement. But all in all, I still have my hopes up. Trophy ka main nahi socha. I always think of top 4 and take it from there. I think this is a side that can really, push for that top 4 spot. So fingers crossed they can do well.
But this is not like football where top 4 you get Champions League qualification, bro. Like no one remembers top 4 in 50 years' time. They'll remember who won the goddamn thing. That's why CSK and MI can be happy about their trophies. I know we keep saying loyalty to be the comfort cushion, and that's what helps us sleep at night. But surely you think this squad that they picked in the auction is better than what they picked last year in terms of what they finished last year with being 4th and all of that stuff. So if you think they have a really good bowling lineup, what is it? And I'll start with you in terms of the bowling depth, and then we'll talk about the batting with Knicks.
Oh yeah, and fuck the finish. I mean, last year they तो ये squad upgrade है, मतलब upgrade का massive upgrade. Last year
How
no
much?
one, including us, gave a chance.
You're saying it's a
We,
massive upgrade beyond belief.
so we basically moved on from a bowling attack that had Alzari, Joseph, Lockie Ferguson, Akashdeep, Mohammad Siraj. I'm forgetting who else if I missed out any. Tom Curran, of course. Two, Yash Dayal, Hazelwood. Uh, who else am I forgetting now? Yeah, Yash Dayal, Hazelwood, Raseek Dar. कौन है चौथा पेसर कौन है मैं भूल रहा है किसी को तो भूल रहा है बट जो भी है,
ग्राफिक लगा दी
हाँ, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, of course, Bhuvneshwar Kumar को ही भूल गया. So again, in terms of the pace attack, definitely a huge step up, and it also seems to be a very clear indication of how RCB wants to play, what's the style of cricket that they're looking for, and importantly, what kind of surfaces that can we expect at the Chinnaswamy? Something even Hesson alluded to in his preview. The surfaces that they played on in the latter half of the season at the Chinnaswamy, where they played their games against Gujarat, against Delhi, and against Chennai. I know Chennai was still on the higher scoring side, but the surface had something in it for the bowlers. That was important. Gujarat, the surface had plenty in it for the bowlers. Delhi again, same thing. A bit of nip, a bit of a bit of greenery on the top. That's all that's needed, and that's where I think if they do something like that, they have the batting lineup to sort of negate whatever is there on the surface, and they have the bowlers to extract whatever juice will be available on the surface. Spinners is where my biggest issue is. They don't have too many. There's no variety as such. And first 11 options, maybe it's primarily Krunal, Liam Livingston, and maybe Surya Sharma as an impact sub. Agar wo bhi hata de, to it's just going to be these two. So that's where they might be slightly lacking on. But like I said earlier as well, if they're going to be playing at the Chinnaswamy, I don't think there are too many spinners who can, create an impact. Chahal was one of those. Once you missed out on that, I didn't know how many other spinners were there. Maybe someone like an Adam Zampa or someone, but that would mean a whole tweak in the combination. So yeah, no squads built in a laboratory. Every team comes with their flaws, and I am willing to accept the flaws they have with this side.
Okay, just two questions, and then of course I'll move to Knicks. One is the Chinnaswamy fact or the stat. Since 2017, RCB have lost more games than any other team at home. They have like a 45% win ratio at home or whatever. That's one thing to consider. And you just mentioned it. If we can actually pick our own conditions in our pitch, what would that want to be? Or rather, what would you like that to look like in terms of a green tinge to it, more of a cricket wicket? And my second question, bowling regards, is Bhuvneshwar Kumar for you an upgrade to Mohammad Siraj?
See, they're two different roles. I don't think it was Bhuvi over Siraj. I know we're looking at it from an Indian spearhead, so that way, yeah. And I would, from an Indian spearhead POV, definitely an upgrade. Bhuvi has a calm head over his shoulders. He's someone who's a lot more experienced, so he can shepherd the youngsters. So that way, I think he's an upgrade just in terms of experience and the ability to lead the bowling attack. But in terms of bowling value, I'm expecting Bhuvi to bowl 3 to 4 overs in the first 7 innings. That wasn't the case with Siraj. Siraj was primarily a 2-1-1 or a 2-0-2 bowler. That's not going to be the case with Bhuvi. Bhuvi will be a 3-0-1 or at best a 2-1-1 bowler. So, alag hi hai. So, it's not a like-for-like replacement. And I'm happy with Bhuvi's purchase. Can definitely, we know Chinnaswamy moves under lights, especially with the new ball. If Bhuvi can move it both ways and get even a few wickets, I'm more than happy to see that happen.
And remember, Bhuvi made his T20 debut in Bengaluru. You remember that game against Pakistan where he literally, I was in the end stand and I could see it from the back of my seat where he just swing indeed. And it's funny how life is because literally Siraj has moved to GT, which had Shami. Shami's moved to Hyderabad, which had Bhuvi. And Bhuvi's moved to RCB, which is literally that little holy trinity, if you have to call it that way. Nix, on to you then, because look, we can all joke about RCB and how bad they've been across the 17 seasons. But I'm surely thinking the last 3 years, they've gone from strength to strength. Is that fine for me to say? And how do you look at it from not a CSK lens, but a neutral cricket expert lens?
I think they're definitely on the upward curve, if you honestly ask me, in terms of how clear roles are and how less dependent you are on a certain type of department. So I think that is a good change, and I think that's what every franchise would want to hope to. Okay, if there are dependencies, we gradually get to a stage where we become even. It's very unlikely you will always be even because auction dynamics, plenty of things happen for you to not get to that stage. So if I come to this season, I think almost most points are well covered by Akshay. I think the team has very high ceiling, but that ceiling depends on certain individuals to really have massive, massive seasons. So plenty will also be played in terms of role by the home menu, as Akshay said. I would personally want some grass because if there is no grass, I don't know how this bowling lineup will shape up. They have people who can do the job, but then again, you don't want it to be either kuch bhi डाल ले नहीं चलेगा. You don't want to get into that stage as a team because then how do you plan? You cannot plan for a venue like that. So I'm hoping that is something that comes to fruition. Eventually, it will be between Punjab and RCB that they could potentially be fighting for that fourth or fifth spot is what I feel, because I feel both those teams are very similar in terms of the personnel that they have and the unpredictability with them and the form of certain key players, whether it is Phil Salt. If it was Maxwell, Prab, Josh for Punjab, it is Phil Salt, Liam Livingston. You don't know. With Tim David, you don't know how they'll eventually function in that lineup. So that's where I feel, and I completely agree with Akshay that their power play is sorted. It's the middle overs where I feel teams are going to just line up because Krunal Pandya and Livingston are not the people that teams are going to be worried about. They play a good supporting acts with aggressives around them. So I think that's where maybe Josh Hazelwood's role will become massively important, that you bowl 3 with Bhuvi up top, bowl 2 of Yash, maybe bowl 1 of Krunal, hold Hazelwood back for key matchups in the middle over. So I think tactically, RCB will have to be very on point in terms of how they go about this entire season.
Okay, I love how both of you guys have mentioned the bowling bits, and that's perfect for me to now take it to the batting depth chart, because every year we think about Virat and who will his partners in crime be. This time, that Kohli Patidar axis has to work like a charm, Akshay. So again, you have first go here, and then Nix can probably back up your thoughts. What is your top 6? A lot of people thinking about Padikkal, whether he'll have a specialized role at number 1 in terms of being one down. Patidar, we know his spin exploits. So what does your top 6 look like in terms of the RCB batting order? And are you happy with the options that right now on the screen that you can see?
Moral is happy. RCB also, similar to RR, have a good top order, have a good bottom 4. It's just the bridge between the two there where I seem to have a few issues. There are 2 different answers to this. One, what I think RCB will honestly do, which is back Devdutt Padikkal at number 3, which I absolutely don't want, even if it comes at the cost of dropping someone like a Tim David. I want them to start with Jacob Bethel because he's the only other top order batter that I can see. Swastik Chakara and all extremely unproven. So for me personally, my top 6 looks something like this. It's Virat Kohli, Phil Salt, Jacob Bethel, Rajat Patidar, Liam Livingston, Jitesh Sharma at 6. And number 7, I've gone ahead with Manoj Bhandke. This is my personal 11. What I think RCB will end up doing is Virat Kohli, Phil Salt, number 3, Devdutt Padikkal, number 4, Rajat Patidar, number 5, Liam Livingston, number 6, Jitesh Sharma, number 7, Tim David. I can see where they'd be coming from if they went with a top order like this. But personally, I still think Jacob Bethel and Manoj Bhandke as a duo would add more value than Devdutt Padikkal and Tim David, especially if Devdutt Padikkal is going to bat at number 3. Something I'm happy that even Mike Hesson spoke about. Devdutt at number 3 has just been atrociously bad, and I don't think that's ever been his role. He did well as an opener at number 3. He averages sub 10 in each of the 3 seasons that he played. In 22, he averaged 16, 17, but 18 he averaged 6, 19 he averaged 3 point something. So just going on to show he's been bad. So that's not his role. He likes it when the fielders are in, when he can just chip the ball over the infield, get his boundaries, and then get out post power play, let the middle order batters come in. If you're going to ask him to come in the 5th, 6th over, it's going to be tricky for him.
Okay, there's another name doing the rounds, Akshay, and I just want to get your clarity on Smaran. Whether he comes in for Manoj Bhandke, but Bhandke is like not ruled out. What is the situation there?
Bhandke is fit. आज तो unbox किया भी उसने वो 6 setting challenge में participate भी किया, so he's definitely fit and functioning. But Smaran has been a very sort of key part of the training sessions that have happened so far. So much so that even in the intra-squad games that happened, Smaran was allowed to bat. Usually intra-squad games, batters are always their first 11 choices, and bowlers are net options, या जो भी backups हैं वगैरह वगैरह and stuff. Batters never do teams go to batters outside their pool. To see someone like Smaran not only being given game time but also being brought into their intra-squad games show that he's definitely a part of their plans. If not this year, then next year. But makes me wonder यार तुम्हारे पास पैसा था, मैंने ऑक्सीजन से पहले भी बोला था स्मरण को तुम ले लो, एक नाम रख लो as a backup. So I don't know. It's good that they have him in their plans, but भाई यार क्या फायदा अगर वो स्क्वाड के बाहर है तो स्क्वाड के बाहर है, so anyone can poach him if they want to.
Okay, let's just conclude this RCB batting chat with Nix right now by getting his top 6 or 7. Nix, how do they fill the Faf du Plessis void? Because he struck at, 164 last year. I know you have Phil Salt, who's arguably one of the best T20 openers since 2023, but his form of late has been questionable. So, again, your top 6 and one man to really be the shining light in armour for RCB with a bat in hand, please.
He has to be Livingston. I don't think the side can score big if he doesn't play, because Salt will score with Virat. But again, this is the season where again another set of fans will realize why Faf du Plessis was underrated, and he will remain underrated because you don't get bangers like 160 at that consistency, and the options that Faf brought to the table is not what Salt did. Salt can go on and score 4 centuries. Please do so. But what Faf did is something we'll know with time. So I think not easy to replace him. I think unfortunately, because of the way it functions, I feel DDP might have to start at 3. No other option, because I personally don't want Rajat to come at 3 and just be out there. Because if he's out there and he gets out before spin comes in, I think it is a waste of what Rajat can do in the middle over. So I would personally want Rajat to start at the back end of most likely the back end of 6-7 overs. And then that can really allow him and Livingston to really flourish together. So my top order then would be Salt and Virat, DDP at 3 with a very specific role that just go ahead and hit these guys and play out these guys so that he's there. Leave, something what Badrinath did, get out at the right time so that Patidar and others can come in. So him at 3, Patidar at 4, Livingston 5, Jitesh at 6, Tim David at 7. I think that's a fairly good distribution, and you can play around with Jitesh and Tim David's entry point. If it's a pace-heavy team, you send David up. If you want Jitesh to spend more time, send Jitesh higher up the order. So I think that flexibility will be there. But I think 7 is where it is. I don't know how much you can trust on Pranal. I would personally want to play Rasik Dar as well in that starting 11, because I feel if RCB are to win the IPL, Rasik Dar will have to play a massive role. Given that I've spoken about end overs and end over options, I think Rasik Dar could play a massive role there. So that is how I see that top 8 or top 9.
Yeah, important name that you mentioned there, Rasik Dar. Remember, we pouched him for about 6.5 crores. When I say we, it's RCB. It's not like I bought him at the table or whatever. Finally, Akshay, just to give RCB fans a little clarity in some of the new names, yeah. Mohit Rati, I think there's Swastik Chikara, there's Abhinandan Singh. So do you expect any of these guys to come in as an impact player? Do you think they should? Just some little bit of information for people who are living under a rock.
Swastik Chakara, I don't think will be an impact option because वो top order batter है. या तो start करेगा या नहीं करेगा. And given Virat, Salt and potentially DDP, I don't think Swastik would be needed. Mohit Rati is a leg spinning all-rounder, played just the one game for Punjab Kings in 23. Interesting choice, but wait करना अपने को. मतलब he will be a part of the impact subs for sure. He'll be a part of the 5 names every game because he offers a bit of that flexibility कि अगर batting में अचानक से collapse हो गया, if it's a turning surface, they might potentially send him in because a second innings maybe वो ball डाल सकता है. So someone they can consider. Abhinandan Singh is primarily a new ball bowler. If I'm not wrong, played for the Meerut Mavericks. Or was it Kanpur? I'm forgetting one of the two sides.
But he's played with. But sorry, he's played with Bhuvi and Krunal as well. So which is why that exposure is there.
Exactly, वो है. But again, early 130s to mid 130s. So उतना pace नहीं. So I don't think he's going to start. And given that we have Bhuvi, Rasik, Riyaz, Shan, Hazelwood, who I'm expecting to play at least 10 to 12, if not all 14 games given fitness. I don't see Abhinandan Singh getting the nod ahead of any of these pacers. But yeah, these are the 3 names. Apart from that, of course, Swapnil Singh ko dekha. Bhandge is the finisher who had a fantastic Maharaja trophy last year. So hopefully he could, get some game time as well. Fingers crossed for that. And yeah, those are the youngsters we have this time around.
Yeah, I know. I mean, KKR fans would be looking at Suyash in terms of whether he plays a game for RCB or not. I think he might play 1, game, depending on the conditions. There are people in the chat saying that Krunal could come in for DDP, one down, used as a cameo, like what Ara did with Ashwin, and then you have Barngate 8. Again, lots of things for Andy Flower and his men to think about. But we'll finish off the RCB chat with our predictions. Again, hoping the graphic is right, and I think it is right, because I feel Akshay going for Chinnaswamy as the hero in 0 is true. Don't rub your eyes. It is, of course, confirmed by him. Let's start with my predictions. I think the whole Chinnaswamy fortress is actually going to come to the fruition this year, because I think the bowlers can do themselves a favor. It's never been done before. I know it's a steep ask. It's a high expectation from a fan like me, but I think it will be something to savor if it comes to fruition. 0, I think Surya Sharma, because I think the poor lad might start a couple of games and he might be absolutely taken to the cleaners, like none for 61 and 2 overs types. And again, you're hearing it first here. Where will they finish? Top 4 for me. But Nix thinks they will finish in the middle table muddle. So Nix, let's start with your RCB predictions. Why middle table, Nix? Come on, yaar.
Yeah, and just I'll own up here ke 0 backups typo tha. I wanted to send backups as the only 0 there. So 0 backups mein 0 bhi aa gaya. So I mean, take it the right way. Middle table model, I'll explain why. Because again, the 0 is why that middle table. I think Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Chinnaswamy will do it. I hope we'll get the job done, because they will need that to get into people's in lower middle order. Few concerns that batting depth hai, but it's very plannable. It's not a batting lineup that you can say कि हमेशा एक दूसरे को compliment करेगा, because we don't know, because it's a new pairing. We don't know how Jitesh will work with Krunal. Team David as a potential finishing combination, and सबसे बड़ा Livingston का form. You do not know what to get from him, and he's going to play a very crucial role at 4 and 5, wherever he plays. So that I feel plays a massive role. And उसका backup कौन है? Romaro Shepherd. Now, Romaro Shepherd को मैं Team David की जगह पे ला सकता. I can't get in for Livingston. If I get somebody for Livingston, that is Jacob Bethel. So that is where I feel that form factor, that massive Maxwell hole that Punjab have to fill. That is why Livingston becomes very, very crucial for RCB to work, because if he works, then they have plenty of options for the middle overs also, because then a confident Livingston will bowl overs in the middle and he'll give you wickets. He's that kind of person. He can bowl at the back end also. He's that kind of a guy. So I think Livingston being in form is very, very important. And the backups, even for domestic pacers, as Akshay said, you only have Swastik Chikara. और कुछ अगर बैटिंग में गड़बड़ होता है, who do you have a backup to? Who do you go back to? So that is where I feel they are light on the bowling as well. Abhinandan Singh, Suyash, Rathi, they are names, but I feel the drop-off is too big. So I think, as I said, for a few other teams, they'll need their best 11 to play every single game, because थोड़ा भी injury हुआ तो फिर backup नहीं, and hence the mid-table medal.
Okay, justified. Let me know if you guys are losing your mind at Knicks. It's fair, but you guys have lost your mind at me as well, so we'll all kind of take it on our chin. But valid thoughts there. Akshay, quickly just finishing yours. Why is it a problem, rather a boon and a bane, the Chinnaswamy Stadium?
Yeah, firstly, of course, the crowd and all of it, we know they are our 12th man, literally, and not just, a namesake. But the surface is going to play a huge role, because the kind of batters they've gone for, be Phil Salt, Virat Kohli, down also if you go to Liam Livingston, someone like him, they all prefer, true bounce, true carry. They also prefer surface that are conducive to pace bowling, because they thrive on, thrashing length balls left, right, and center. Even the bowling attack, it is Raseek, Hazelwood, Chuck Raseek, it's Bhuvi, Hazelwood, Yashal, all of whom either move the new ball or expect some juice from the surface that they can extract. It clearly means that they have a specific strategy in mind for which they need the Chinnaswamy to play a certain way. If it does, then it will be a hero. If it doesn't, it will be a 0. So that's where I think it could potentially be a 0 for them, and the crowd and all of it, of course, being the hero. I still think there is enough quality in the squad, and not the squad, in this playing 12 to about 13, 14 players, जहाँ पे वो अपने आप से games निकाल सकते हैं, which is why I have them in that top 4. ये finish वाला तो I really think there is a lot more objectivity. Last year I was honest, 8 to 10 ही expect कर रहा था. They played out of their skills to sort of not do that. So जितना लोग बोल रहे कि भाई ये तो तुम बहुत ज़्यादा बोल रही है सब. I don't know, maybe I might be wrong, but let's see. It's maybe more of a hope than a prediction.
Okay, Cricket Info saying, Avnish and Akshay, all I'm going to say is that don't have high hopes for a title this season. Never trust an English player. Many people saying top 4. Look at you guys. Bias predictions and Avnish and Akshay. Bring it on, man. Because when we're going to be holding the trophy on the 25th of May, you can tell me I'm wrong, but I know I won't be right. Spartan Loy saying, Avnish and Akshay, your bias towards RCB is fogging up your lens. Brace yourselves to add another wooden spoon to your cabinet. Look, that's what I'm saying. That's why watch-alongs with us this IPL will be something to savor. And in fact, we'll try to put up the watch-along schedule later on in the show. We have so much still left in the show, even though we're done with 9 teams. I will be reviewing the last one, or previewing the last one in terms of SRH. And then we have the unbox to talk about, a little bit about the WPL final. And then we'll be done with the longest terminal we've ever recorded in the history of cricket.com. Right, so 9 down, 1 to go. Bear with me, Akshay and Nix. We've all kind of really put high energy into this preview. We're not had our dinner yet. And we want you to start the week off really well. So if you're joining us, we've spoken about all your teams. We're finally going to be talking about Sunrisers Hyderabad, and they are an absolute team to behold because they hit the most sixes last year, 32 sixes more than any team in IPL 2024. And even the Hindi boys, shout out to Somesh, Vikas and Nix for giving their points of the SRH and what the Orange Army can come across. Now, fact file for the boys in Orange, it is going to be the Australian duo. I say Australian because Dan Vittori, of course, the Australian men's head coach, he is, of course, New Zealand, but the Trans-Tasmanian bond with Pat Cummins is going to come to the fruition again with the second standing of 2024, giving them some sort of confidence going into this season. And they have an all right start to their campaign with RR being their home game first. And even if you look at their record, there is a slight error there, but look, we'll move on nonetheless. Right, let's get the batting of SRH sorted out first. And Nix, I'll come with you here first because we think about SRH, we think Travis Head, Abhishek Sharma, but now they've added a little bit more names. So let's talk about those names and how much do you guys automatically think SRH are going to bat oppositions out this IPL? So Nix, your first thoughts with this depth chart, please.
I love it. Absolutely love it because they missed out on last year because they collapsed on the big day. They realized that they need some firepower down the order. 2 inclusions which I'm very, very happy with, Ishan Kishan and Abhinav Manowar. Again, names that we have been speaking in every video, watch along possible, that get them into the setup, give them a good role, and that's what they've done. So I think it elongates that batting lineup further and it gives them plenty of options to try. You have somebody like a Vian Mulder as well, who can be used as an impact sub. If at all you feel that, okay, maybe I don't need Zampa, but this is good enough for me. And he can give me new ball value as well. So I feel plenty of good stuff done. Comendo Mendes is the one and you would feel, okay, interesting name because you don't see him as a like-for-like backup. But again, somebody who's there and maybe they've thought about this differently, maybe on slower decks they want to play him. That will be interesting. So all in all, very happy with the batting depth. Plan being executed to a further step that let's go even further because there is Aniket Verma. There's already an article on the website that you should read about how he's done well and he's already done well in a practice game. So more proof for you that you can trust their eye that way, that they know what they're doing. Bowling is something that you will feel, somebody will feel it's an upgrade, somebody will feel it's a downgrade. I just feel they have just made it even more clear care. If 220 spar, we'll get 240. And do they have the batting to do that? They do. I think in the lineup of all the teams, they are the one team that if you go till number 11, even the number 11 can hit a couple of fours. I don't know if how many 11s can think of something like that. So very interesting times. All depends on execution. So I think we've come to the 10 team. I'll just say a few lines that a lot of you will feel very extreme about certain teams. Eventually, it all boils down to executions that some we feel will top 4, but if they don't execute, they can fall out of the top 4. And if teams who we don't think make it to the top 4 can still make it if they execute their plans to their best, like in case with RR. So I think SRH, I would not cut any marks for them in terms of what they've done with this squad.
Yeah, the batting is the obvious strength. And of course, you saw that depth chart there. We'll show you the bowlers whether they kind of give you vibes of the 2016 SRH and how they could defend totals of 120 with Kane, Bhuvi, Rashid. I think there was Natarajan also at that point in time. But Akshay, SRH, you look back at last year, brother, and again, some of the stuff that they did, at the top of my head, bat MI and people like CSK out of the games in their own den. They came to RCB Chinnaswamy, scored 287, even though they conceded 262 in the same match. It goes to show that this team wants to kind of break all the stereotypes and barriers in cricket. And I think they could potentially reach 300 as well in a T20 game with class in there. They've added Abhinav Manohar as well, which is a serious domestic player. What's your first impressions on SRH? And do you feel that they can probably go one better than what they did last year and win the IPL?
That batting lineup is as explosive as it gets. And for those of you who actually did not catch, the practice game, please do yourself a favor and do that. It was, that was the first time probably, and I saw the 287 game live. Live as in watch along kara tha, but tabhi I've never felt so helpless for bowlers ki yaar, why are they even bowling this bloody put a bowling machine there and go na. जो भी आ रहा है वो सही में हंगामा का राजपाल यादव बना के बैठा दिया वहां पे, मंदिर का घंटा ही था बॉलर, हर कोई आके बजा के जा रहा है कि भाई क्या है ये. So that batting lineup looks very, very, very good. But I still have a few sort of issues. I wouldn't call them issues, but there's still a few points that they will have to tick, few boxes that they'll have to tick. Klasen himself hasn't been in the greatest of form. 23 crores, most expensive overseas player. Can he live up to the billing? That's something that will be, that's a sword that will be hovering over his head. Travis Head, Abhishek Sharma, excellent 2024 seasons. Travis Head, in fact, has continued to, do well in international cricket as well post that. Abhishek Sharma himself, not sure. I mean, the kind of games he's had both at SMAT and even for Team India at the international level, just show that है, मतलब थोड़े vulnerabilities हैं जो target करोगे तो अच्छा हो सकता है. Ishan Kishan, Abhinav Manohar on paper too, fantastic ads. If I were a part of the think tank, they were exactly the kind of players I would have wanted in my level, at the auction, considering the kind of retentions they've gone for. So if I look at my top 6 right now for them, Abhishek Travis to open, Nitish Chandra Klassen at number 3, number 4, Ishan Kishan at number 5. I think Ishan shouldn't be at number 3 and he should be at number 5 because that's where he had his best season ever in the history of IPL. When he batted in number 5 in the 2020 IPL season, he had 5, then 6, 7, 8, the engine room of, both the Pandyas and Pollard. That's what really worked well for MI. And I think he can do really well for SRH at number 5. Then Abhinav Manohar at number 6, Aniket Verma at number 7, a name I did not have post the auction, but now after watching that practice game, a name I cannot not have in the first 12. I mean,
that's just 7. That's your top 7, and I think it's a very scrumptious top 7 if I had a food analogy over there. But in terms of their bowling options, Akshay, who fills in the void for you over there?
Yeah, coming to the bowling on, just one last thing, top 7 में ये है, फिर number 8 पे आता है बंदा जिसके पास fastest 50 का रिकॉर्ड है IPL में. तो मतलब आप समझ रहे हो कि क्या किस लेवल पे लोग गेम खेल रहे हैं. So that's crazy, absolutely crazy for them. But yeah, coming to their bowlers, now that's where the problems compound for them. It is understandable.
What is their biggest problem? The lack of left arm pace?
अरे नहीं इतना specific नहीं. Like ठीक है, if you don't have left arm paces, you don't have left arm paces, which I think they don't. Like Jaydev Unadkat, I don't think will be starting with them. नहीं तो यार बेचारा regularly बहुत मार खा सकता. अगर batting मार खाते जाएंगे तो कोई किसी ना किसी को देना भी पड़ेगा ना. And I fear that he could potentially be one of those bowlers who could be targeted by oppositions. Shami is not. Injury से वापस आ रहे हैं. Is like जितना हमने देखा था, be it for Team India, be it even in the domestic season, look very iffy. I'm not sure. Again, if you are going to be a part of side that consistently scores runs, you need to understand that your bowling attack will be targeted just as much more. And that's where I don't know if Shami is the kind of bowler I would have, because I think if you don't give him the conditions where he can do well, he can go for plenty. And we've seen that time and time again, be it for Punjab, be it for DC, be it for all the sides he's played before. Harshal Patel, interesting choice. Primarily a death overs bowler, had a great season last year, had a great 2022 and 21 for RCB. So I think he's one of their sort of, silver linings, so to say. Adam Zampa would have been a great addition, but I don't think they can afford to play him because they have other spots. I mean, they can go for other overseas spots. Let me just confirm. Oh, apologies. I do have Adam Zampa in my playing field. So Adam Zampa be here. So Adam Zampa and Harshal Patel. These are the 8 overs I'm looking at. Pat Cummins, the bowler. I did like the way he used himself last year, where he was smart. He realized he wasn't a death overs bowler. He's not a new ball bowler. Middle overs, maybe the kind of overs he came into bowl at, he was smart, and I like what he did with himself. So yeah, that's where I think if he uses himself the same way like he did last year, then he should also be a great ad. But फिर उसके बाद क्या? That's I don't know 12 overs, which includes 4 of Adam, 4 of Harshal, who on their day can also go for runs. Then you've got Shami, you've got someone like a Simarjeet Singh. You would expect more overs from Nitish Kumar Reddy, Abhishek Sharma, Travis Head. Again, matlab, theek hai, it's good to have these options, but these aren't the kind of players you would want to rely on day in, day out. That's where the bowling will potentially, go the distance. But ye to hona hi tha. Like, you will never build a perfect squad. They focused on the batting lineup, but they've done a pretty damn good job of getting what they wanted. But the bowling leaves a lot of room for desire.
Okay, well explained from both of y'all. And even if you kind of look at what Somesh, my colleague, said about Hyderabad in the Hindi show, he reckons someone like Travis Head, Abhishek Sharma, NKR can fill in that 4th or 5th bowler void in terms of giving you 4 overs over there, which is a point well accepted. Let's move on to our predictions, just to submit what we think about SRH and what can happen here. Now, this is something that we strongly feel. Now, my explanations for Hero, Abhinav Manohar, Akshay got him on an unwind. I think he's really going to the gym, doing a lot of range hitting techniques and working at that side of his game. I think he's had a good smat, and I think the best is yet to come from an Abhinav Manohar perspective. Isha Kishan, no, it's Ishan Kishan, who's my 0 this time. He doesn't have a sister called Isha. It's Ishan, so don't shoot us in the comments again. We're absolutely going to probably make a couple of sackings tonight, to be fair. But nonetheless, jokes apart, I still feel the middle table model as well, SRH will finish. But Nix, on the other hand, has SRH in the top 4. He thinks 0 is the jersey. So Nix, again, your explanations for the choices you made. And you've got Ishan Kishan. They've given me Isha. Well done.
Yeah, it just tells you some things just work out some way. See, for me, hero is Ishan Kishan because I feel there will be so much hurt there. I don't think he was he was just pushed out of the system. And I don't think that's fair on him. Don't think he did too much wrong. Again, best reasons, we don't know the exact reason. So maybe we'll just park it there. I think there's plenty to prove. And he's someone who likes to play with freedom and play shots. Which better team in this entire tournament to be part of than SRH? Complete freedom, go out there, execute your shots. Already done well in the practice game. Okay, practice game, but good signs to build up to. So I feel this could be a very massive season. And why he's important? To ensure they get that above par score. Because if he comes good, it means Reddy comes later. It means Klassen comes later. It means they can really have a mad finish in that last 7-8 overs with wickets in hand. So, which is why I feel Ishan Kishan is hero. 0 say, I'll give context. Their existing jersey is not the 0. But if you see the practice jersey, if you see the jersey in which they've played the game, I personally feel that is a better jersey. So, yes, you can say, yes, polling ko jersey mention kar sakta, jersey ki chahiye, but I feel that jersey is even better. Black hai to yaar, I can't not see black. So, wo thoda mera bias aa gaya, which is why I mentioned jersey there. I buy Akshay's point as well. They could consider a lot of runs, but I think the batting is good enough to cover for it. And if this batting cannot cover runs, then I don't know which batting can. So, which is why I feel they have enough in the tank to get to the top 4. Will they finish on top 2 or not? I don't know. But they should get to the top 4 because that top 7 has at least 4 people who can on their hit centuries. And that's not something that every team can boast of. Now, but their ceiling is a 50 or 60. Here, the ceilings for Head, Abhishek, Klassen, Ishan Kishan, Reddy, massive score. So I think that's where that ability to win games on their own is why I feel they're in top 4.
A quick question from my side, Nick. Where does Ishan Kishan bat for you? I mean, obviously you don't want to break the Abhishek Travis opening pair, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be Ishan Kishan one down.
Yeah. I think it'll be, maybe it is hard, but I think he'll have to find a way because I don't want Nitish to bat at 3 or him to bat at 4. He's worked at 4, but I think Kushan will be better. So let's see.
Okay, on to Akshay's SRH predictions then, because he jokingly says batting lineup can score 300 consistently, bowling lineup can concede 300 consistently.
मजाक नहीं है भाई, सही में.
Seriously.
अरे, if this lineup cannot score 300, then I don't know. Like, और कौन चाहिए तुम? So this genuinely can. It has the potential to break the record not just once, multiple times. But I also think this bowling attack will go the distance, because this time around teams have also taken notice. You see a lot more sides packing, their batting lineup with potential, with a lot of, substance. That's Sanjay, matlab, you cannot possibly say that this SRH bowling attack, like even Nikhil Bhai will agree with me, that jo bhi ho, RCB's bowling this time is better than SRH. Like, you cannot even, I don't think it's even up for debate over here.
नहीं, I'll not agree, but I would not say 300 भी दे सकता है. मैं 300 भी नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, but पीट सकते दोनों. That's okay.
Honestly,
yeah. So those are my thoughts. I think the bowling lineup can really concede a few too many over here.
Okay, interesting, because look, SRH, where they'll finish, you let us know. I mean, just to reiterate, both me and Akshay think there'll be a middle table muddle there, despite their batting prowess, and Nick thinks it's a top 4 finish for them. Right, I mean, guys, it's been 3 hours, 20 minutes, literally 2 hours, 30 minutes previewing all the 10 teams. So we've done it in decent time, to be fair. And we're going to clip it out also from Wednesday onwards for all you lovers who've just joined us in cricket.com. Please like this video. We're not done yet. We're not done yet, because we just keep giving literally on cricket.com. We have another 10, 15 winning minutes max at the MNL. So let's move on to the best of the rest, because there's a certain unbox happening near us. Right, best of the rest. We so often feature and focus on all the other things happening in the world of cricket. Now, we'll come to the RCB Unbox in literally 3 minutes, but I want to use the first 3 minutes of best of the rest to quickly get a reaction for the WPL winners in Mumbai Indians. It wasn't a B for Delhi Capitals. I mean, how heartbreaking is it for them? Another year of agony, because they made the final not once, not twice, but thrice, and they've lost out all 3 times. So commiserations to Delhi Capitals and Saurav Ganguly and Marzan Karp and the rest of them. But MI, well done Neeta, well done Harman, well done Saika Ishaq, well done Nat Siva Brunt. So Nix, your first thoughts on the new WPL champions?
They wanted to have a new winner, but wasn't to be. I think Mumbai just found the momentum at the perfectly right time. Got Nat Shivabrant in an absolute peach of form. The lady couldn't do much in the Ashes, but look at how she turned up for the WPL. I think just to take a moment and appreciate that we get to see these players play cricket in our lifetime. Nat Shivabrant is clearly one of the best. It's impossible to have such consistency across venues and still be so good. So well done to her. I think she set the entire tournament up for Mumbai almost single-handedly. Shout out to Harman, because she played an absolutely blinder of a knock in the final. 22 odd after 7 overs. And then to score 70 runs in the next 7 to get to 90 odd in 14. Again, just big people standing up on the big day. And that is also where I think Delhi did not stand up. They got into the game so many times. Such a start, 22 for 2. Then you had them 112 odd for 5 down. Then if you allow them to score 149, their last 2 overs went for 25. You cannot go for so many. You did not bowl Jess Johnson out. I think some of the questionable calls, I'm sure Akshay and others would have already pointed it out in their podcast, that they could have done a lot better. But even after all of that, should have chased 150. You cannot not chase 150 in those conditions. So many controllables not done well. You look at some of the shots in some of the dismissals and you'll feel you had it, you could have done it. But I think credit to Mumbai. They found a way to put too much pressure on Delhi and they succumbed to it. So well done to Mumbai. No problem that they won. And lessons for Delhi again. Let's see what they do next year.
Okay, because Delhi, of course, you look at that run chase, and like Nick's mentioned there, just needed a little bit more sensible batting. Marzan Karp played out of her skin to bring it close as they came. But Akshay, your first thoughts on it? Of course, you did the watch along with the girls, and the whole WPL has been a success. So a pat on the back for you from my side, but it's a question that I wanted to ask you that Asim Hans has actually put out in the comments. Could it be fair to say that in the end, DC Women's lost the title rather than MI winning it? Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, fair to say, because in both innings, it sort of looked like, yeah, DC have it, in their grasp. First innings, so they started off really well, 22 for 2 at the end of the 7th over. It really looked like, हाँ भाई, अब तो match ही शायद खत्म हो गया, and I've completely lost the plot over here. From there, they not just resurrected the innings batting wise, and then the way they bowled as well, and some of the dismissals, like that was the annoying part. Like, I don't think MI bowlers had to earn their wickets. Jemmy's wicket comes to mind. They had 2 runouts. Just what, like, Jemmy, I don't think, like, 9.5 out of 10 times she wouldn't have had that leaning edge. Like, it's the most bizarre of dismissals. I don't think I've seen something like that. Ekdam slow ball, she hardly read the pace. Just the adrenaline rush, the urge to do well for the side, all of that, making her, just come up with a judgment error. And that was unfortunate for her. And then the way Jess Jonathan got out top edge, Meg Lanning got a peach. Then you saw Shefali Verma getting out to, like, kya bola? It was just very unfortunate. But yeah, fair. That wouldn't be an entirely incorrect statement to make. But you cannot deny the fact that MI just were quality through and through. The way they caught, the way they fielded, the way they bowled, irrespective of whether they got their wickets of bad deliveries or not, they put a lot of good deliveries and good spells in between. That's all that matters. And yeah, they have the trophy in the cabinet, while Delhi Capitals will have to go back home. Just wondering if they could have done anything better, and they surely could have.
Yeah, so I'll just quickly add, the shot that got to me the most was the one by Shikha Pandey. I know she's not supposed to close the games out, but that summed up the day for Delhi. Just not yours.
Stepped down the track and did nothing.
First ball.
Yeah, as funny as it sounds, some of those dismissals will never repeat itself again, because even if you look at that cotton bowl that Amelia Kerr got of Jemmy, it was slow, like Akshay mentioned, but the bowler, how often have you seen that in cricket where they're literally halfway down the pitch to get the cotton bowl, more than it coming slightly more to the popping crease, bowling crease end. But look, that's how we reflect on the WPL, and more great social media creatives on Instagram. There's some good content coming up from the Women's Cricket Podcast that Akshay and Nia have done. So all women's cricket stuff is cricket.com, is the Wednesday podcast, is Akshay and Neha. So props to them, and props to our WPL, which has been excellent to see. Season 3, the fielding could have been better, but that's our assessment. Nothing else, because RCB Unbox is happening right now. It's been a permanent fixture, at least in the last couple of years, where they unveil the jersey. Last year, Kohli said those words in Kannada. This year, they've got the light works out. As we speak, I'm still starting to see all the visuals unfold on my Instagram. Kohli's already hugging Phil Salt like they've been brothers for the last 20 years. There's been a 6-hitting competition. There's been random renditions of Isala Cup Namde. So there's lots to, of course, savor. And my colleague, Diya Kakar, we sent her earlier this afternoon just to get a little sniff, a little understanding of how things can actually play out in terms of the RCB Unbox. Let's go find out what she encountered earlier this afternoon.
We are right outside the Chennai Stadium for the RCB Unbox event. The atmosphere is electrifying. The passion and the commitment of the fans is absolutely unmatched. Let's see what the fans have to say here. Are you guys excited for the Unbox?
So excited for us, obviously. I think it's a huge event. It's going to be a great experience.
Excited to be in Bangalore with RCB. We've not lived here for a while, so really looking forward to the energy that the city brings. So
Yeah?
Excited, very much excited.
Yeah?
So I'm an MI fan. My second favorite team is RCB. So I'm here for Kohli. I need to see him. I haven't seen him. So I'm a little excited.
Are you waiting to see Virat?
Yes.
Any other player looking forward to?
Rajat Patidar.
Which player are you excited the most?
Virat always.
Which artist are you looking forward to the most?
I think Hanuman kind.
Sanjit Hegde.
Oh, Sanjit Hegde. Yeah?
Yeah, we are Kannadigas. We always support our Kannada peoples, no matter whoever it is. And Sanjit Hegde, and there is one more girl who had come to perform here.
Yeah.
And we are come here to cheer them.
And what do you have to say about the new jersey, It has a hint of orange and black.
I think they've gone back to their previous jersey. I think this is much better than the last year. I prefer the black and red. Yeah, I haven't seen it fully yet, so I'm waiting to see it properly. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's like your board, right? Yeah. You prefer the blue or the black? Black.
The black one.
The red and gold. That is red and gold is OG.
Is 18th time the charm?
It's 1-8 right there.
Oh, 1-8 right there.
Yeah, it might be the year for it.
Yeah? What about you?
There's always hope, but yeah, let's see.
I keep no expectations after 18 years. If you keep expectations, you might end up disappointed. So, I think hope for the best. I think it's Kohli's last 2-3 seasons. So I think I'm gonna enjoy it.
This is the 18th year of IPL. So definitely this is going to be ours for sure.
Right, lots of reactions in my unbox. We've already put out some short content, and good job, Dia and Manish, for getting us those visuals right now. Right, time to really wrap up proceedings on MNL, but we have two important segments waiting in the wings. One is Akshay's Howzzaat, which is, of course, something to really think about. And then, of course, some 12th man segment questions we missed out. We'll try to keep it as short and sweet. Before we wrap up with the best of the rest, here's what to watch this week. There is New Zealand-Pakistan. Pakistan got bowled out for 91. Go check the highlights out of that. New Zealand are also hosting the Sri Lanka women. Go check that out. And there's plenty of IPL action starting on Saturday with, of course, us doing the watch-alongs for that one. And it'll be something to savor because, look, me and Akshay are going to be doing 29 watch-alongs is what we've thought of. And essentially, I'm putting down the schedule of it right here. So 7:15, join us for every watch-along in the evenings. We'll be doing that for the afternoon games, 3:15 as well. Right, enough of my fluff. Let's move on to Akshay's quiz. And that is Howzzaat. Like always, we have winners and we have losers. The losers we never kind of show light on. Winners we do. But Akshay, who won it last week? And it was a decent question last week.
It was a decent question, but Avnish just somehow manages to hold on to his streak here. 4-4 now. Each time he's asked me this question, there's been no winner. But yeah, so basically the question was, of course, based on the Champions Trophy. The Champions Trophy final, to be precise. The first instance of this occurrence was 15 years ago in Sri Lanka. The second and third instances happened 6 years ago in New Zealand and India, respectively. The fourth and final instance happened in the recently concluded Champions Trophy. What rare occurrence was being referred to here? Well, we were talking about Rohit Sharma's dismissal. Of course, Rohit Sharma has been out-stumped just 4 times in his ODI career. And, of course, the fourth and final instance happened in the Champions Trophy final against Rachin Ravindra. So that was the correct answer that we were looking for. There were a lot of interesting, guesses made. Unfortunately, none of them right. So no winner last time. I get to hold on to the voucher for myself. But coming to this video, very straightforward, very simple. Dekhne kisko milta hai. If Kwena Mapaka is the most recent uncapped overseas player to be signed in the IPL, ID, who was the first such player to be signed in the history of the tournament. Once again, if Kwena Mapaka is the most recent uncapped overseas player to be signed in the IPL, ID, who was the first such player to be signed in the history of the tournament. Like always, please wait for the live stream to end and enter your answers in the main comment section in order to remain eligible to win a 500 rupee Amazon voucher from us. One thing I've learned is the pronunciation of Kwena Mapaka, who we all called it as Mafaka. Turns out it is Mapaka. So it is interesting. I'm getting used to just, pronouncing it that way. But yeah, there we go. That's from this week's Howzzaat.
Lovely. Absolutely short and sweet. Let me know if you guys can answer this one. Akshay has been stumping all of you smarties in the comments. But remember, if you have something to win, you can win this one. Right, time to end the proceedings in MNL. But before we do, we always adhere to you guys in the comments, and that's the 12th man. Some of the questions we've missed out throughout our chat with Pommie, and of course, previewing the 10 teams. Let's have them right. Don't shoot the messenger. I literally can't even cherry pick fucking questions tonight, but random ones. I'm going to start taking them. Right, let's wait. Great graphics, guys. Can we have these posted? I mean, we'll have to think a few ones which we know to post and whatnot. Abbas Kunde asking, he's an MI fan, but Nix will give you this one. Can CSK consider playing Rachin at 4 and open with Ritu and Conway?
I don't want that to do. I don't think Rachin will start great at 4. Could eventually work out, but I don't think likely of it coming through. I would rather play Sam at 4. I'll take it to be Vacha Gelada. Good spot for him there.
Okay. Shiva Prasad asking, does Hemang Badani know any coaching, Akshay? What? Can you please tell him and tell the viewers?
What do you
Good job.
what do you mean by
Sorry for
nothing?
those
No
reactions.
coaching.
Sorry for this reaction.
Exactly. Matlab, no, this is not anti-Shiva. But, I've not personally been coached by him, but he's of course coached other franchises. He was a part of the SREC, the Sunrisers Eastern Cape setup, jahan pe, they won 2 trophies. He was a part of that setup, not as head coach, but he was there. And apart from that, he's also been a part of the Chepauk Super Gillies, if I'm not wrong, at the TNPL, the side that's also won a trophy under him. He's got decent exposure. Seems like someone who is a lot more open to ideas, experimentation. Seems someone who's into data. Something he's also spoken about post the auction. So there you go. So that's that. Hemang Badani
And-
definitely has some coaching experience.
Recently won ILT20, right?
Oh yeah, he won the ILT20, of course, for the Dubai Capitals. I forgot. Yep.
Yeah, Hemang knows a thing about coaching. He doesn't know a thing about charging for shows, which I can't, of course, tell you how much he charges, but it's ridiculous. Anyway, Jonas saying, did you miss me, Avnish? I know we had a scrap last time about Barber. I mean, who wouldn't want to scrap with you with Barber? Obviously, I think we would. But thanks, Jonas. Please like and subscribe. Chandan Rame, I think, has posed this to Akshay because he didn't have Phillips in his GT11. Now, he says,
But there are
if
6
no...
bowlers.
Okay, so tell me a 6.
Yeah, there are 6. Yeah, 6 bowlers nonetheless, Chandan. So I've got Prasid, Mohammad Kaki Surabada, Sai Kishore, Rashid Khan, and then Washington.
Good, how is that
You've got
question?
Shah Rukh Khan.
Hold. Repeat. We didn't hear you.
Okay, Prasid Krishna. I've got Prasid Krishna, Mohammad Siraj, Kakisor Abada, Rashid Khan, Sai Kishore, and Washington Sundar. 6 options यहाँ पे है. You've got Shafin Rutherford, Shah Rukh Khan, and this one, Rahul Tewatia, who can also bowl. So there's enough bowling, yaar. I don't think you need to worry about bowling options. 6 solid bowlers and 3 matchup options, kind of based on the surface that they can use.
Okay, from a team in the East, we'll go to the team in the West because Asim Hunt has a couple of questions on KKR. Next, and you can answer quick ones on this. Has KKR cornered themselves by naming Ajinkya as their captain? Is his first KKR question.
I don't think they've cornered. You could feel like that, but I think the straighter option to that is don't open with Sunil. You open with Rane and Quinton. Job done.
Okay, and his second
That's
KKR
how
question.
I'm
And I'll give this one to you also. Decock for Salt, is that an upgrade?
Typical for the role, you would feel no. But with Quinton, I feel it is something that could work for KKR if it continues to give good starts. Because that's what at times you get with Quinton. Good 30s, good 35, 40s. If that is done, then great. Ek din pe you'll hope he can take off like Salt did, but yeah, can't compare like that. Basically.
Can't compare. Fair points. Sumit VK asking us, Akshay, is the news true that Shardul is replacing Mayank Yadav?
He's joined the LSG camp. He's already been training with them. So that is true. Him replacing Mayank, from what we've heard, apparently the LSG setup is sort of working against time, doing overtime just to ensure that one way or the other, they either get Mayank to be declared fit or to be ruled out so that they can rope in a replacement. Means to very unke paas zyada options nahi hai. So we'll have to still wait on that. Mayank Yadav right now has not been replaced.
Okay, fair enough. Vikas saying 6 more minutes, guys. You're beating Lagan's run time. I know Vicky would say that. And Vicky, well done to you and the Hindi preview because you had, of course, you can curtail it. I can't curtail it. I can't do MNL in 2 parts. And I know MNL is becoming TML, which is Tuesday morning live, if we don't stop in the next bloody 15 minutes because it's ridiculous. So last couple of questions, and thanks Vikas for mentioning the time there. Quick info, random. Not cricket related. Did Hanuman Khan perform in the RCB Unbox event? I don't know. I think he has. And Sachin Upadhyay saying the 71st took a long time. The 71st MNL also going for a long time. All things point to one thing. Things that hasn't happened will happen. I hope it's red and black holding a trophy at the end. And what a way to end, guys. I mean, to be fair, I can still take so many questions. There's one which I really want to take. But literally, if you guys have seen the show, you guys can do the math. You guys can figure who our top 4 is out and who isn't. I'll just ask the boys one question. Who's winning the IPL? Orange cap, purple cap, and then goodbye, good night, Chabak ahead, and whatever Abhinav Bachchan says in KBC. So, orange cap, purple cap, winner. Akshay, you go first, then me, and then Nix.
I'll just, off the top of my jaw, Sai Sudarshan, orange cap. Purple cap.
Sai Sudarshan! That's like asking you, who's the next RCB captain? bro, Nitish Rana.
Who said Rajat
Ashwin,
Patidar
Ashwin.
first? पहले
You
रजत
said
पाटीदार
Nitish
का नाम
Rana, then you
किसने
said
लिया
Ashwin
था?
Anna, then you said Venki Iyer.
I never said Venki Iyer. कुछ भी किसी का भी नाम डालने से कुछ नहीं होता. But anyways, I'm going with Sai Sudarshan. I'm going with Varun Chakravarti and winner का तो क्या ही बोले अभी जिसका जर्सी इन्होंने पहना है. Let's hope उसी के साथ चलते हैं.
Okay, fair. Next, I'm going to go all RCB. Obviously, people will throw pelters at me. So be it, but I wear my heart on my sleeve. Kohli to get back-to-back orange caps. Come on, Virat. And I think Booby will turn back the clock. I'd like to believe that he will be amongst the purple cap race. And obviously, RCB to break the curse. This is biased with a capital B-I-A-S, so stuff it. It's okay. But Nix,
And
please
also
tell
BC
me.
after that.
Yes. Nix, please tell me you're similar to me, and I want you to say Dhoni to win the IPL, and then I don't even mind that. I don't even
I
mind
thought you were
that.
saying Dhoni for orange cap. चलो ये तो फिर भी ठीक है.
I'd love to see that, but I don't mind CSK winning it only for MS. Let me put that out there.
Okay, I'll have one random prediction which I hope turns out true. Two guys will be tied on scores this seven orange cap. Jaiswal and Travis Head. I just hope it happens. It's a very just now I have a gut feel. I think purple cap could be between Harshal and Varun. I'll go with Harshal Patel. I think we could see SRH winning. I would love if Chennai win.
Okay, super. Many people are actually hoping for the CSK SRH final. I've seen that lots on Twitter. That hoping for CSK RCB final. That'll just blow everyone's mind, even the broadcasters, in terms of the traffic and the numbers and all of that. Right, Akshay and Nikhil, thank you so much for your time, because people are video calling me saying, are you okay? You're doing a podcast for 3 hours, 45 minutes. Pagal vagal ho gaya kya? But we are. We're cricket mad. We're IPL mad. The IPL starts soon. Next, thank you so much for your time. Your final thoughts in this longest ever MNL?
I'll just say it's been a pleasure. I don't think I'll ever forget this seminar. I was absolutely chuffed to bits at the start only. And the Pommie Mbangwa, to talk to him, I don't think I felt so childlike joy ever. So sorry, Swan. I had him as my favorite MNL, but nothing, very few things can beat Pommie unless MS comes on show.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay.
I mean, Akshay, we kind of promised people that we'll try to get a PM on the show. We got a PM on the show, Pommie Mbangwa.
There you go.
So, I mean, your summation of this elongated episode 71, and more honestly, do you think we'll ever do a longer MNL in our lives after this one?
Yeah, to be honest, dekho, now I've gotten used to talking long hours, irrespective. I'm just happy that we've had folks that have come in and actually stayed with us. So importantly, thanks to all of you, who stayed back and actually made the effort to listen to us. I know it must have been a lot more difficult for you guys, because for us, we are still distracting ourselves by talking and this and that. You guys have to just keep listening. So thank you so much, and hope you guys enjoyed it just as much as we did, bringing this coverage to you guys. And like Avnish mentioned before, we will be doing a bunch of watch-alongs every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There'll be watch-alongs. Monday is Monday Night Live. We'll be doing a bunch of other stuff. So please make sure you've subscribed to us if you haven't already. And make sure you've liked this episode of Monday Night Live if you haven't already. And probably it is time to say goodbye.
It is time to say goodbye. I mean, casting half an hour more, let's be LOC. I just quickly Googled Lagan watch time. It's at 3 hours 40 minutes and we're 3 hours 42 minutes. So apologies. Vikas, on the brighter note, call me, have some great news to give us, which Somesh has given us with all the other plans at IPL. Nix, Akshay, have tons of water, sleep it out. We'll get the clips cut out. There'll be time codes as well. Honestly, props to you guys for having such a great show and discussion. We'll leave it there, guys. Thank you so much. And of course, jokes on Shaunak and Alex, because you guys have been fantastic. Couple of mistakes happened, but I'm just coming for you guys right now. Like the stream, we'll end MNL right now. The longest ever. Jesus. Where's my water?